What do you guys give me if I kill that bird?
Barbara, that's a bald eagle.
Get away, Baldy! Yeah!
Oh, well, good evening, and good evening. This is The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Wow, we have a full house tonight. It's probably the most mics I've ever used, making me a little nervous tonight. But you know what? I can handle it. I've only been doing this a little bit. Tonight, we are live on GovsRadio.com. We are live on Facebook, and we are live on YouTube. Go over to the Govs Comedy Club channel. This seat is also really messing with my head, just so you guys know. This is really... I didn't put this here. It was here when we got here, and I'm not feeling quite comfortable yet. But tonight, we have some very special guests for you. Before we get to them, we have some sponsors that help us out. And those sponsors start with Rosie's Draft Solutions. Steve, take it away, buddy.
Right. Rosie's Draft Solutions is a Long Island family-owned business that provides professional draft beer system services, line cleanings and maintenance, draft beer line system installs, event dispensing solutions, and more. They are passionate about craft beer and making sure it has the same quality as when it left the brewery, and that is only done by making sure those draft system lines are perfectly clean. Rosie's services bars, restaurants, halls, events, and all other beverage establishments, including home kegerator systems. They service the likes of WA Meadworks, 1940s Brewing, Blue Point Brewing, Darling, Mauritius Field, Hopwinds, and of course our good buddies over at Hopscotch Bottles. Yeah. Just to name a few. You can reach Rosie's at rosiesdraftsolutions@gmail.com or give them a call, 631-219-2075, Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mention the Wort, get a little discount, maybe even get a, little
pinch and a tickle.
Little pinch and a tickle on the rubber duck,
That's it, Cole. Nick over at Rosie's Draft Solution. Go to rosiesdraftsolutions.com. Get your discount today. Mention the Wort and receive a little discount, as Steven just said. Next, we have our buddy,
Beer Maker.
Buddies.
Beer Maker.
Multiple buddies.
Your at-home countertop all-grain brewing system. You want to drink Mexican lagers in the middle of winter? Do it. Brew your own. Wow. You want to be a basic bitch and brew a pumpkin beer?
Yes.
Do it. Marzens for October. Who knew?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. The home brewer of the year, the gold medal, was made on a Beer Maker this year. It's awesome. Works off an app for iOS and Android. It's fun. There's no cleaning. All the parts of dishwasher safe. Beer Maker. Mention promo code The Wort for a discount.
BEERMKR.
And get a percentage off your hardware or your maker kit. So go to beermaker.com. We also tonight are sponsored by Brewbag. Brewbag for your beer pong cornhole. We're going to have it over at the Blue Point Cast Festival. We'll be broadcasting.
Yay.
I'm not so sure we're going to be live, though. I'm not sure how good the Wi-Fi is in the outdoor area. But we will record it all and we will air it live like it's live at one point or other. So Brewbag, go to brewbag.com or visit our link tree on our Instagram page for your special promo page that you can buy your beer bag for 10% off. Go to brewbag.com and use promo code The Wort. We also sponsored by VintageBeerShirtClub.com. VintageBeerShirtClub.com for your vintage beer shirt monthly subscription. Type in The Wort for your monthly discount on your monthly subscription. And we are finally also sponsored by Brewers Hardware. Brewers Hardware for your large capacity and small capacity needs. Go to brewershardware.com. And he helps us supply some gifts that we give back to the brewers for being guests on our show. So thank you very much to all of our sponsors.
Yes.
And tonight, before we begin, just so everyone knows, before I to unleash everyone that's here tonight, you can give us a phone call. It's right there at the bottom. Right there, down there somewhere. 516-465-3990. 516-465-3990. First, let me introduce you to our primary guest. We'll start with that. How about that?
Sounds good.
Does it?
I like it.
Well, you're really not giving me much support there. It's just like, well, I mean, it's like, yeah, kind of. It's Mark from Garvies Point. What's up, Mark?
Mark.
All right. And then also, wait. It doesn't stop there. Just wait till we show you this casting couch.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Here it is. Are you ready? Here we go. Boom. We got John. We have, I got to turn their mics as I'm doing it. It's John. John's up.
Oh, hey.
We got Ben, and we got Kevin. Ben and Kevin from Garvies, and
Hey, Don.
John. John, you may know John from a little brewery called Dubco. John's here because there's so many freaking things going on. Collaboration time, all sorts of fun stuff. We thought we'd just bring in everybody tonight and have a great time. So thanks a lot for joining us again. Give us a call, 516-465-3990, 516-465-3990. And, of course, we're live on Govs Radio, Facebook, and YouTube. Hi, guys.
What's up?
Hi there.
Good evening.
Sorry, it takes a little while to get going, and as you can see, with the craziness to begin with the show and everything that's going on, it really
Plus
does
these new
take...
chairs.
It really is the chairs.
My chair is nice.
I liked our chairs. It's a little much.
Brewers don't really get to sit a lot. So.
But
No. That's why anything
They
you
just
have,
ran
a
to that
bucket,
couch.
you have a bucket, you have anything, that's good enough. This would be...
grain bale.
Yeah. Oh, grain especially. Ooh,
You know what? That pallet looks really soft today. I'm gonna take a nice little snooze. I don't want to lose. So where do we want to begin? I mean, this is up for grabs. This is so much to go on. We have so much coming up. It's a hell of a month, like I said, for festivals, for collaborations, for all this stuff that's happening in and around the Long Island beer scene. I guess we'll start with Mark, primary guest, as I said. It's a nice way to say you're the man tonight, buddy.
All right. Well,
And we're going to get started. I really want to ask you a lot of questions because I've been to the brewery several times. Love the experience. Love the beer. You guys are a name on Long Island that stands out on the shelf. People know it. People have heard of you. Maybe not everyone has taken the trip up like they should have. Give us a little background of you and how this all kind of came to be.
Well, it was a long...
Beer.
Yeah, beer. I was going to say the first thing we should start with is cracking a beer.
No, see, no.
That's why they got invited.
You know, we've had some trouble with that lately. Just the getting going part of what are we going to be doing?
So I'll get into a little bit about how Ben and I started the brewery. 2015 is the official date that we incorporated.
Really? I thought it seems so much longer.
Yeah.
It really does.
It seems like a lifetime already, but at this point we got a lot of the beginning stages of the brewery out of the way. We continuously developed our recipes and upgraded our equipment year over year. Ben and I have been best friends for about 20 years.
There you go.
And we grew up together in Glen Cove, where we started the brewery. We used to cause trouble in the town, going down to the movie theater, throwing snowballs at cars. And it was basically a place where we always knew if we were going to start a brewery, it would be in our hometown.
Yeah.
It's also on the North Shore of Long Island, where you don't see a lot of the majority of breweries popping up on Long Island. So
There you go. Wet that whistle, brother.
That was
like,
Wet that whistle.
that was
Sand
one.
City, Harbor Head, and your neighbors. Noble Savage would probably be.
Yeah, Noble Savage is kind of new, and then Oyster Bay has been there for quite
Right.
some time. Old Tappin'.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about what's happening.
The last couple years.
You haven't been to Lloyd Harbor Brewing? That's on the New York State app, but yet probably never existed at one point or other? Yeah. Go.
That's the appropriate
John,
thing.
John's looking at me like I'm
Yeah,
crazy.
yes,
Go
that's
on to
News
the
to me.
You're correct.
Think New York, Drink New York app.
Is it like a campsite? I don't know.
It's on the Lloyd Harbor, so it's if you go around past the Arboretum or whatever that trail
It's
is.
some rich guy's basement.
It probably is. He probably paid enough money to the Brewers Association to put his own little home brew probably on the map. And
Well-
it is a thing that you can get stamped and visit.
Get the hell out of here.
I swear to God.
In some
I'm
old
so
guy's
interested in just going
fucking
over there and
torture
figuring
dungeon.
out, just knock on doors, be like, are you Lloyd Harbor Brewing Company?
See, I feel like this is beginning to a horror film.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's so strange, though, to have that there and no one's heard of it. No one's known about it. Like, at least something like Shelter Island. You've seen something or you heard something. There's something out there. Nothing on Lloyd Harbor Brewing Company. So I have no idea what to expect from, if at all you ever find a beer from there. But it's there. It's on the map. So if you ever look at it, if anyone's looking on it going, what is this Lloyd Harbor Brewing Company? It's not new. It's been on there since the app came out.
Really?
Yeah, it's an OG triple.
They've been around for a while, yeah.
a little bit. So yeah, I mean, Glen Cove. I mean, you grew up there, so obviously that's why you wanted to put roots down there. What were the hardships of finding a place up there? I feel like it's a constantly under construction area. The whole town seems like always under construction. I know you probably didn't see that immediately, but you're thinking big things are going to happen. What was the draw of having that location?
Well, the area where we're at, Garvies Point Garvies Point, where the brewery is, it's basically had a looming development plan for several years.
I like the word looming.
But we never thought it would come to fruition. And Ben and I decided, at one point there was cheap warehouse space. It was a dilapidated building. We had been looking for a little while. We started to acquire brewing equipment, put it into Ben's parents' garage, my garage. So basically, we were just...
As everybody does.
We knew
as one does, right?
Steve did
Until
it.
you called a beer garage.
So then
Turn into barrage.
Yeah, beer shed.
Beer shed.
Over the course of time, we compiled, over the course of several years, we compiled pretty much a brewery, all used equipment, driving to Pennsylvania to pick up a keg washer, trying to get the best deal and the best quality equipment we could find.
Was there something online? Like, was there like a Facebook group or at that point a MySpace account
Yeah,
that
so
you could Tom selling his keg washer?
So
Pro Brewer
Backpage.com.
Classifieds.
Pro Brewer Classifieds.
Yeah.
I would refresh that page every hour.
Really?
Jump on it while I was
But
at work.
there's stuff posted like that rapidly?
Yeah, I mean, and when it posts, you better contact the person and put down a deposit.
Wow.
And honestly, in the brewing industry, people are very honest. They'll tell you straight up front. So I've never had an issue of buying and selling equipment with people that are reputable and have breweries across the country.
What is that website that was infamous for the classified ads? What am I?
Craigslist.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure Craigslist.
Don't
would
go
have-
on Craigslist.
That is not reputable. And they will fucking take you for everything you're worth. You will wake up, your house will be gone.
Or
That's-
Alibaba.
50
Oh my God, yes, Alibaba.
50-gallon water ton, $50. You're like, yes, I've hit the mother load.
Shit, yes.
That will never show up.
No,
Yes, we'll deliver it. Just
$10 folders. Yeah, they're like miniature replicas, and you can only put an ounce or two in there.
oh no, it's just some barrel that was found on the side of the road. I was in front of TJ Finley's and they stole it.
They would. It was just all wood.
It's
pallet
just all wood put together.
Pallets.
It's a box. It's a wooden
that's
box.
nice. Mark, so you guys, looking for that space that you had, you said it was a dilapidated. How much work did you have to put into that space to get it done?
A ton of work. When I brought Ben down to the building, the doorknob fell off in my hand. and I go, Ben, we found the spot.
Yeah.
And he goes,
Yes, we're home.
He goes,
I
"Are you
knew the
sure?"
moment I saw it as well. That was the spot, though.
You're like,
It-
we're home, boys.
It was super reminiscent of the college brewery that I had in my town in California called Hangar 24. It's an old airplane hangar where people would come on Saturday and Sunday, bring their muscle cars, their family, friends, get together. They used all the local produce out back from the orange groves, the citrus. Their flagship beer was an orange wheat. So we're living in the town in Redlands, California, and then also frequenting the brewery. It was always something that I admired and wanted to be a part of. And when I moved back to New York, Ben had been brewing for quite some time and looking to brew professionally. So we kind of put our heads together and started making some beers that, we didn't find readily available on the shelf at that point in time back in 2015. And
Give me an example. What kind of styles were kind of things you wanted to do, but you knew
They
wasn't
were a
going to be?
little leaning towards the West Coast side at that
Okay.
time, but we were kind of tailoring the bitterness to the point where it was developing towards an East Coast sort of thing.
Okay.
Before hazies in New England's really had fully become a thing, but just kind of working on fresh, smooth, really delicious, easy drinking IPAs.
Yeah, so
at that
double
point.
IPAs that are, a lot of aroma, smooth bitterness, different yeasts to accentuate the different styles and hops. So double IPAs, and it evolves over time. Sours were a big thing when we started. We did sours a million different ways.
Really hasn't gone away either. But you're known for some of your sour beers.
Yeah, at one point, in my home brewing, that was kind of just all I wanted to drink and all I wanted to brew for at least about a year. So that was where a lot of my focus went, and it took, maybe a few months before me and Mark decided that we were willing to take the jump, into, bring lactobacillus into the brewery and, and messing around with it.
Evil thing.
But we're glad that we did because it was very well, received immediately, and the whole series I think speaks for itself now. So.
Guys, give me the timeline. I mean, you got your equipment, you got your space. What was from the moment of acquisition of the real estate to the moment where you opened? How long was that journey?
Quite some time. We cut a deal with the landlord that basically told them that if we don't get a special use permit from the city of Glen Cove, then the lease would be void.
Now, what does that entail? What do they want from you?
So basically, they want you to make a presentation in front of the city,
like a PowerPoint presentation.
Basically, you have to show them that the waste is going to be discarded correctly, how much you're producing. Traffic, parking, seating layout, exit doors, all that type
everything.
Of stuff.
This is what the building's going to look like when we're done.
Exactly.
This is how many people we think we're going to cycle through in a day, and how many times someone's going to flush the toilet.
Right. Well, you can never really know how many times somebody's going to flush your toilet.
I'm a 2-flush man myself. I'm just saying.
How many people are going to get drunk, stumble across the street, and fall in the water, and we're going to have to save them?
I mean, it's some of the courtesy.
Well, life jackets on the edge for everybody.
That's right.
That's all right. I've been to the brewery a few times. Like the area. I hope the road is finished finally because that's like a dirt road trying to get to you.
Well, now it is.
Yes, it took a long time. That's what I'm imagining is I got to get up there, and since COVID, I haven't been up there just because of things not being open and general just being kind of stuck around the area as best we can. But for the most part, I mean, for what we see coming out of there, you guys have had the direction. You've known what you want to do from day one. I know you talked about the sours. Was there also like a defining moment where you're like, this is going to be our niche. This is where we're going to go with this?
Not so much.
I think that Mark always had an approach that we wanted to treat our fermenters as our tap lines and have always a very fair, approachable, nice variety of beers that could relate to everybody. We didn't want to be niche. We didn't want to have just one style or two that we did. And kind of, forced me to work on some styles of beer that, I really wasn't great in at home brewing, with the Kolsch's, the Pilsners, we were able to work on dark beers, definitely improved, in part thanks to Steve and our collaboration. But
comes in with his chocolate thumbs. Everything gets a stir of chocolate.
I think my thumb is still stained from
Still smells like peanut butter.
All right.
But we've always tried to keep a nice variety of beer that keeps everybody, as many people as we can happy.
Can't make everybody happy, but
no, you can't. You really
when
can't.
When you go to an awesome craft beer bar, right, and you see one of your favorite breweries on tap, you don't care what style it is. You know it's going to be good. So we always wanted to be that kind of brewery where if you see our name, it's on the board, get a drink. Because it's like, we put our heart and soul into it every hour of every day. And that's, we wanted to see something out there that we couldn't buy at the time. And it's just progressively evolved over time because we are the consumer. We choose how much hops go in, what yeast go in, what types of malts we buy. So nobody's telling us what to make, how to make it. It's just, two friends putting their heads together with the help of an awesome crew every day to make it happen.
Now, I know you got this.
It was a great cheers.
That was fucking sweet.
You know what?
Pick that up, right?
Bro,
I got to isolate that.
I was ready to go answer the door. I thought it was a doorbell. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
I mean, I have a synthesized one.
That was well played, guys.
Well done.
That's nice.
But that's a good one. We're
That
gonna
was beautiful.
Keep that one. Isolate
These
that.
nice Tiku glasses that make that beautiful sound, along with the beautiful beard.
Thanks,
It's
American
exciting.
Beauty.
From when you guys started, what kind of equipment were you guys working on when you first moved in there? I know you talked about evolving, and then what did you add? How have you come? Where are we at now?
So we started on a 3.5 barrel.
Really a 3-barrel.
Yeah, really a 3-barrel.
Wow.
We pushed it. So it's Portland Kettle Works, and they're out of Portland, Oregon. We bought it used from Urban Family. I think they're still in Seattle, but we got it crated up, and We installed a.
Was that a freight shipment that they
Yeah.
throw in
That
a
was-
truck? Is
that
that
would be a long
nerve-wracking?
drive.
Yeah, is that? You could have got a box truck and made a week of it.
Well, we didn't drive out for that one,
Yeah.
but other than that, it was basically just a burner tabletop setup, similar to what Steve started on, and we got it secondhand, so we could afford it at the time, and
play and brew every day.
yeah, well, that's what you think it is until you start actually, getting in. Like I would work another job, show up after, and we had to make it work regardless. And once we got it open, we didn't have enough money to start the tasting room. So we started to just crank out double batches into our 7-barrel fermenters. We had 5 7-barrels to start, and we would double batch into these. So 14 times we'd brew. They were all uni tanks, but we made sure to crash and, trub dump and make sure the beer was good. We don't filter anything. We don't pasteurize anything, but in the beginning, there's a steep learning curve from going from 5-gallon batches to 3.5 to 7 to 10. And over the course of time, we self-distributed all of our beer. Ben and I both worked for a distributor called SKI, and we sold some of the best beer in the world from Germany, Belgium, some of the Trappist breweries. And that really taught us a lot of the international styles, as well as some of the best American craft beers that we could, get our hands on, and like Founders, Bear Republic, Stone, and that really opened our eyes to what the international styles were doing, what the American breweries were doing.
And at the time, it wasn't what it is now. So it's come, it's 10 years away. So it's like that was one of the things that kind of turned most people on. We'll get to those special little questions later.
We got a whole bunch of questions.
Later. But I mean that's
At
kind
least
of
3 of them.
the things that specifically that's kind of the things that turn most people on, or turn people around our age group into where we are today.
Right.
What was the business end of that? Did you have a lot of dealings with kind of how that would translate into your brewery and your business model?
Yeah. Oh, well, we did the math, if that's what you're asking. Like, we did the math on, like, how much we could make,
Right.
how much we could sell,
What
and
the profit was.
and what the cost would be to run it.
Yep.
There's no profit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nope.
For the first 5 years, you're just continuously reinvesting in to grow it to the point
Sure.
where you can actually maintain, but you're either growing or you're dying. So you have to.
There ain't no third direction, as they say in Tommy.
Yeah, so I mean, but there's a lot of circumstances. So I mean, we don't like to swim upstream. I mean, things happened and we just kind of went with the flow, and if something didn't work out, we moved directions. And you have to be flexible. You have to have a backup plan, and basically we just bootstrapped it. Painted the floors, painted the ceiling. Did everything that we could possibly do on our own within the guidelines of the law to make it happen.
And it definitely helped that, we had those connections through SKI, and,
Sure.
Mark having worked in Brooklyn, myself, right here in Nassau, northern Nassau, Long Island. And, and just, like he said, we didn't have, the money for the tasting room at first. So, our first few batches came out. We're just sitting around with a bunch of kegs. And, thankfully we
Where
knew.
did it go?
Thankfully we kind of knew people that wanted to support us, and we were able to show up and be like, look, we finally did this. And they were very receptive. And, it was a good way to kind of roll out the product
Sure.
with people that we had worked with before.
I still remember meeting you guys over at the Long Island Classic. Oh, and at the time I still think it was at Martha Clara.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love the Martha Clara.
And I remember
the best.
coming, hanging out with you guys, just, really, just meeting you, really just trying your beers, and everything was, I'm like, wow, okay, these guys are doing a good job, which was what I always wanted from every brewery that opened up. I said to every single person, you want to open a brewery? Just brew goddamn good beer. Make fucking Long Island a location that people want to come to. Fuck going to goddamn California, Portland,
Exactly.
Boston. Come here, because we got great breweries. And you guys started off really great. I met your dad,
Yep.
and we had such a great time that day. And I'm like, I started telling everybody, I'm like, and plus myself, I'm like, I got to get to the brewery. I got to see what you guys are doing over
Well, I
there.
was like, who's this guy coming behind the taps and pouring himself a beer?
Because that's what Steve always does
That's Steve.
to this day.
You guys had a hell of a time through this construction, this pandemic. Talk to us a little bit about how you guys were able to kind of sustain throughout.
Well, we basically knew that there was a big pandemic on the horizon. We didn't know what that meant. Every industry you could think of was affected. Every person in the world was affected. So we had to adapt or die. So we pretty much worked 7 days a week. We put a plastic table in front of the front door, propped the door open. Kevin consistently delivered beers to every beverage essential business.
That's what I was going to say. Thank God.
Yeah.
Essential businesses.
on
Thank
Long
God
Island.
for the home D's, man. So essential.
So
They were.
They were very essential.
So
you kidding?
we basically just canned everything, and it was very hard to procure cans at the time, but we had been canning for enough time that they knew that they could get us an allotment of cans. We'd have to prepay for them, but nobody was pouring draft. None of the bars were open.
Yeah.
So we just had to adapt and get through that tough time, but we never closed our doors one day.
Were you guys doing home deliveries at all?
Home deliveries,
Yes.
I was doing them after the day was done. Locally, we put out a bunch of zip codes, just like a lot of other breweries, Dubco and Sin City, and a lot of other breweries on Long Island had to adapt and do what they had to do to make it through. And I think that was the kind of the turning point for us. A lot of times there was a lot of breweries out there, and we didn't think anybody really knew about our beer or tried it. But I think because we continuously were putting out releases throughout the pandemic, people were sitting on their couch at home, and they could go to their local Home D and pick it up, and it was fresh. We would promote it, and it was something new coming out where the whole world was shut down. I think a lot of people got access to it, and that's what we like to see is people getting access to our beer. They don't have to drive all the way out to the brewery, and that's always been a big thing is we want the beer to hit people's mouths whether they're in our tap room or not.
Yeah. The idea though of being able to distribute, did that seem overwhelming at that point? Like when you had to make that pivot point, did it feel like, oh, how are we going to do it?
Now
You
you
know,
guys
we've been doing
also
it.
you guys are also independent. You
Right.
Yes.
you self distribute.
We also came from a distribution standpoint, though,
yes.
you know, having, both worked at SKI together, so we knew the distribution, kind of thing,
It was gonna
on
have-
it.
yeah, have to
So,
happen.
it's probably tough for a lot of breweries that don't understand it, and distribution kind of sucks, losing kegs, tap handles, it's a lot that goes
Everything.
into it. But, Mark and I had a pretty good grasp on it, just having had worked that part of the industry before, so.
And honestly, it's very tough. What you start working for the distributors. So like you're making beer, and the amount of beer they demand and the prices they're willing to pay, it doesn't work in the small craft brewery model. We cannot provide a quality product at a quality price, at a fair price, market price, and go through distribution. So the only alternative is to do it your damn self, and hopefully you sell the majority of your beer out of your brewery, and then the rest can go to knowledgeable beverage store owners that we have many of them on Long Island.
Yeah.
Kevin can talk to that. And
Absolutely.
Shout out to some guys in Lindenhurst.
Yeah,
Always
always
see your
some
stuff on
guys
their
your
show.
stuff's
Yep.
always
Yep.
there. Mike does a great. I was just there this weekend.
So Kevin could mention a bunch of different places that were
Oh,
sold
man.
in. I mean,
Universal Beverage is a great one here in Nassau.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even just right down the block, Kegs and Cases now
Yep.
is Beer
Right.
Island. And even before Kegs and Cases, Eddie over there, shout out to Eddie, he did a great job. And now that new place that they put together there is like a beer haven.
Did
for
you
this
see?
part of the
Is
island.
that the smoke shop? Is that island?
Yeah, they did a lot
Yeah.
of different things.
It's like half
certainly
smoke
not just
shop.
beer.
Yeah, it's half
Yeah.
smoke shop and half. There's
Yeah.
There's like
Rick and Morty plates
yeah,
on the wall.
yeah.
and
As I
amongst
drove
other
by
things.
recently, I'm like, what the fuck happened over there?
Yeah.
Holy
Yes,
shit.
TV screens all lined out there.
Yep.
Huge
Wow.
walk in there. They did a really, really good job. That was a really good. But yeah, all the way down. Brightwater's Beverage, Ice Slip, the trio of distributors. Those guys. Bullseye, Shoreline, of course. Stu. These guys all, they're really, really
Stu.
passionate about what they're bringing in. They only want the local best of the best, and they certainly represent.
And they seek it out. Do they come to you for like?
Sure.
They could be called. They're like, hey, so what's coming out? What can I start promoting?
Always.
I need to have this.
Always. It's a mixture of me doing my due diligence, making sure that they're being thought of every week, and and sometimes they beat me to the punch, and they'll just be like, "What's up?"
That's even better.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
even better when they beat you to the punch. Like, hey, I saw this is coming out. What the fuck? I get
Like, where are you?
I
I'm
need
like,
that.
"Dude, I'm outside. Come on, calm down. Give me a second."
Yeah, no.
Jeez.
Hello? I see him in there.
I see
They're
him.
cased up.
Come on.
Put the racks on. We're good to go. I saw a bunch of stuff coming out from both Dubco and Garvies. When I see that, social media to me was the key over the pandemic. To keep that fresh, to keep that updated, people immediately, again, sitting at home doing nothing but just scrolling through their phone
And drinking.
and drinking, yeah, which was me.
Yes.
That home delivery, that like you said, the area codes popping up, those are the key points. Was there a model prior to this? Did you guys see anything like during this that you could say, okay, I see how they did it for this particular situation, and then they move forward? Anything that could have been learned from this at all? Or maybe how to do it better for next time? If not a pandemic.
God forbid.
God forbid.
I hush my mouth.
Hush your mouth.
Shut
sir.
your mouth when you're
Shush
talking to me.
it. You shush
I
it.
mean, it really just comes down to you never know what the world's going to throw at you from day to day. You could have something catastrophe could happen. You always got to be ready
To adapt.
Ready to adapt, ready for the worst, but hope for the best.
Well, speaking of which, too, so you guys are, I remember several times talking to you guys, and, you have this place, and then you wind up getting another unit, and then all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, and we got to get out.
Right.
And I'm like, wait, what?
So-
Whoa,
Where are we with this?
I
now?
remember being up there 2 years ago, and I was talking to the bartender or beer tender, or whatever you want to call him, and they were talking about the wall had to come down, right? There was the wall on the north side that was going that way, right? That
that's
you
the
want
north side.
south side?
I guess that's the north side. No.
North side, yeah.
North
Up
side.
towards the water, towards the apartments, all up that way.
Well,
Is that
if
the
you-
wall that came down?
If you go down there
No,
right
no,
now,
no.
I mean,
it's opposite.
Okay.
It's absolutely amazing what they've been able to accomplish in such a short period of time, but we did have to live through the devastation of the construction.
Right.
We're the only kind of freestanding business down there, and the only reason why people would go down there in the beginning. But people continue to come, even for through the worst of the worst. And
I was there the day when they dug up your whole fucking parking
I
lot.
remember that. I remember
And
that.
That
I'm
was
like,
the day we made the tusk
tusk.
together.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll park down the street. But I'm like, how the fuck are people gonna
No
come in here?
notice.
They're like,
and they still showed up.
yes, and that was what I was getting at. They just people still showed up. They're like, yeah, all right. So the park lot's all dug up. We don't fucking care.
So
We're coming in.
My car's still making noises from that.
Well, I think you're referring to, though, is that we had opened up an event space in the back.
That's
of
what I was
the
thinking
corridor.
of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, of course, we did that. We broke the wall down. We had this whole brand new space that we were getting ready to utilize. Pandemic.
Yeah. It was before the pandemic, so I remember. Okay.
And we open it up and pandemic.
And pandemic.
But honestly, thank God we did that, because at the end of the day, that was indoor seating that was
Yep.
spaced out enough that we
Yeah.
could actually seat people 6 feet apart and actually have people in the brewery. So if we didn't do that in hindsight, it would have been a big problem. But we were trying to do some sort of separate event space. So if somebody wanted to have a special event, they could do that, and we could host people in the tasting room as well. So
I mean, outdoor space right now is key to most people's business models.
Yeah.
Restaurants
And that was
spilling
one
out.
thing. And that was one thing that came, from COVID. That was a positive.
For almost all the businesses at
Yeah.
this point now are pretty much given the green light to just spill out into the street, backyard, wherever there's open space. Find a space and set up your business because they wanted to keep it going.
Yeah.
What is the next stage? So Steve said, then you said, we're out. What's going on? Tell us a little bit about that.
Come on, big guy.
well,
Come on, I know some goods.
well, basically we're when any area is getting developed, right? There's a level of uncertainty. Whether we've already been there for 6 years, and we've invested a lot of money and time and equity behind the name, and we always wanted to have a space down in Garvies Point. So for
And no, I could be wrong, but weren't all those apartments being sold with hey, by the way, there's a brewery right
Yeah.
downstairs you can fucking walk to.
yeah, so there's supposed to be a ferry terminal that brings people.
That
to,
was the
to
other thing when we
Brooklyn.
talked to Garvies. When we talked to Noble Savage, that was one of the draws for him moving in there. Was like the selling on the hey, you're going to get New York City traffic, people
terminal
living
is
here.
there.
Yeah,
It is there.
Terminal's there, development's there, walkways, waterfront, boat slips. It's very, very nice, and it just came to fruition probably in May of this year. So they pushed through just like everybody else through the pandemic. They provided a great common use space for parks and playgrounds and preserves, and it came out fantastic. And we couldn't be happier with the end result. But there's still more construction to do, and
What's the occupancy like, though?
the occupancy is high because a lot of people moved out of Manhattan, as you guys all know,
Yeah.
and they moved into these kind of they're not so affordable, but they're like all
Relative to Manhattan, though.
relative to Manhattan, and they're all encompassing. So if you have a gym membership, if you want access to the pool, if you want to go kayaking, they got it all the things you'd need. So there's not a lot of that on Long Island, and I've heard it's one of the largest residential developments on the island.
Yeah.
And they're continuing with the construction, but we knew that our days were numbered. And after all this work and after all this time, if we wanted to, solidify a long-term home in Garvies Point as Garvies Point Brewery, we had to make moves fast. So we decided to kind of cut a deal with whatever commercial real estate was available at the time. And when we did that, it was about 3 years ago, and we knew that we had to move fast and negotiate and make sure that we could have a long-term facility in Garvies Point. So
Now, did you have a lease on the current one? Is that what the deal is? You running out on your lease, or was it just an affordable?
It can only be extended.
I love the smirk.
Like-
You guess now?
Well, I mean, basically, you start with a 5-year lease, right?
Right.
And then you see where it goes, and over the course of time, you could extend the lease or you could choose to move on. But that wasn't an option in our case because obviously real estate is very difficult. People speculate and they try and buy up stuff that may be worth something in the near future. So, we weren't about to buy the building. We're only 5,500 square feet in a 65,000 square foot building.
Yep.
But it's an industrial space, and we have overhead doors, rolling gates, and, a lot of the industrial infrastructure was already there when it comes to three-phase power and industrial water pressure and drainage.
All the check marks you need
Right.
for a brewery. Yeah,
Right.
it's
To produce a product. Yeah.
And so we started this journey before the pandemic where, expanding the brewery into a new facility long-term with a long-term lease. Everything went to hell in a handbag. And then we decided that we were going to put it on pause. Luckily, we were supposed to sign the lease on March 19th, and the pandemic happened on March 16th.
Yep.
So that's another thing where I'm talking about. We don't swim upstream. Things just happen. And, I don't know. Ben's probably got a lucky rabbit's foot in his pocket.
It's almost like everything happens for a reason,
That's called a boner, by the way. It's not a lucky rabbit's foot.
No.
It's just.
Or as Steve said on
He
our
keeps
collab,
telling you to rub the rabbit's foot, but
rub
for good luck.
Why is it so furry? I don't know.
What's going on?
It's been a while.
So yeah, we put it on hold, and then over the course of time, where there was I think it was Labor Day, it was Labor Day. We decided that if we're gonna do this, we got to pull the trigger, and we got to start construction now. So we were able to do that, and
But where? Where are you going?
Oh.
What are you doing?
So it's a 7,500 square foot facility,
2,000
wow.
square feet more.
Yep,
Nice.
and it's right in
But-
Garvies Point.
It's in Garvies.
Yep.
So you haven't even moved out of town. It's still in Glen Cove.
Freestanding building.
It's less than
It's
half a
got-
mile from where we are.
Yeah.
Forklift will drive everything over in one shot. Like
Yeah.
it.
And it's gonna be awesome. We have like a brand new brewery planned. It's gonna be a 20-barrel brew house. We're getting it custom made from Agile Stainless in Portland, Oregon.
Ooh, shout out to Alice.
And they're really good people. They kind of started their company just like us. Very interesting story. If you ever want to look into it, they work with Grimm on their initial Williamsburg brewery.
Oh, really?
That's how we found them. And
They were the company that bailed out Grimm and Barry.
Yes,
when,
and that's what I was just going to say, because I remember both Barry and them basically got screwed.
Yeah.
And everything wasn't finished And I didn't realize they were the company that came in and helped finish
at the new location.
Yeah, so
the
John,
greenhouse or whatever, the green something.
Well, John from Agile Stainless, we used to work for Metalcraft, and Metalcraft was the company that went out of business, took big deposits from all these reputable breweries on the East Coast,
and fucked everybody.
And so basically he said, you know, can you finish my brewing equipment? And he couldn't finish everybody's brewing equipment, but he decided to fly out there, rent a warehouse, go in the dead of night, pull the tanks out that were half finished, finish the job, and delivered them to his Williamsburg brewery. And now he's done a lot of different projects to date, and they are making some of the best equipment that we see in the market for the best prices. And they had reached out to us when we were promoting the new expansion, and we decided to work with them. So I think that it's going to be a really nice system that's not as automated as many are out there, because Ben and I want to be able to manipulate the system to be able to brew some of the different beers that
the subtleties that put your own fingerprint on the entire style.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's actually you're still brewing.
Yes.
That's what I always say. You're actually still brewing. You're not, pushing buttons and like,
you mean
the spent grain is going through the auger and going, it's...
I'm an old soul. I still use a hydrometer.
There you go, brother. There you go.
Same.
Yeah. The it's not like a beer maker at brewery size.
Yes.
You just check it on your app.
I'll never forget, we were just opening up Barrage, and we went to Sly Fox. We were picking up kegs from them. Mm-hmm. They were also part or owners of G-Macher, which makes or sells kegs. So while we're there, we meet the owner, and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing right now?" It's like 8:30 in the morning.
Did he ask you to push a button? You want to push a button?
Was the button in his pants?
Well,
he's cold a rabbit.
No, he called it rabbit foot. Yes. Man, that's amazing how that's
instant throwback.
It just goes back and forth.
I wish I realized this in college.
Yeah, right. You could have
so much
used that
better
so
off.
many times. Is that you use
It's
that?
lucky.
Yeah.
Touche, sir. Touche. So I'm there, and we go down, and he brings us to the brewery, and we walk into an office, and I'm like, and there's just screens, your old touch screen, and I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, we started brewing at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
The brewer showed up at 6. I'm like, what? And then everything gets pre-milled in advance, hoppers everywhere. At the same time, the canning line's going, and that started up
By itself.
basically.
Yeah. Okay, Alexa, start the canning line.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, underneath all the grain, they had 5 different, a 5-vessel system, and I was like, who's brewing? Like, you ever had brewer, but who the fuck is actually brewing? Anybody could push buttons. You could just program it. And I found that so disturbing. Just for the reason of for me that's not really brewing.
They have a sloth in there. It's just a sloth. So
But the best part was afterwards. Well, we're hanging out for a few minutes. He's like, "Oh, you want to really see what we're really into?" I'm like, "Okay." He takes me across the street
to a winery.
They're playing Tron.
Oh no, to a distillery.
Oh, there you go.
And they were using their mash and everything that they were getting, and they were using over in the distillery. And at 9:05 in the morning, I'm drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
And gin.
As one does.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, where's the diner? Because I'm going to die in a few minutes. But yeah, there are so many breweries like that.
Everything's just automated.
Just fully
I
automated.
know. We're talking about like they're portioning out the hops. They know their recipe, and
They have
everything is dropped in.
automatic dosing.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess that makes
that's a
sense if you
level?
do like large batches of the same,
Right.
3 or 4 beers. But if you want to be able to brew a lot of different things, and, switch gears often, something like that doesn't really work for you, I imagine.
No.
No.
like some of the stouts we have 12 different malts in them. I mean, we the way we want to make the beer is basically when we look at other breweries and look at other beers, like Ben has always looked at a lot of different clone recipes, right? And for me, I've always looked at certain breweries as being some of the best, making the best styles, right? So one of our flagship beers is Primal Pale Ale, right? We've canned it a few times during the pandemic and
That's always number one on the tab list from
Yep.
you guys,
right,
right?
Pale Ale. So it was in the brown bag series because we couldn't afford to do a label, and we just decided to put
Everything
it
on the
out.
fly.
Yeah.
So it's
Works.
Adapt or die.
one of the most popular beers that we make is the Primal Pale Ale, and Ben and I always say it's kind of a cross between a Sierra Nevada. It's not as bitter as a Sierra Nevada, but it's not as beefy as a Dale's Pale Pale Ale. So
Yeah,
Oscar
right in the
Blues-
middle.
So like we always look at kind of like our favorite beers out there, and we select some of the hops, some of the yeast, some of the malts, and then we put our own twist on it, and we kind of make beers that we take from a lot of different inspirations and make it uniquely Garvies Point.
Now, has anybody said to you, why do you have so many fucking different malts in your beer?
Yeah.
No,
I-
I don't think I've ever gotten that.
I've gotten that, and I'm like, because I want to.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Well,
Because I can.
dark beers, definitely benefit from that. And you're the king. You were the king of them.
Oh,
you
here we
are the
go.
king of them. So,
Wait, no,
yeah.
what was I called this past week?
The old chocolate finger.
Somebody called me the legend. I was like, the legend. I sound like I'm fucking 100 years old.
That was a great movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
The legend was.
Hey, you know what? You need a walker.
No. I got to have like snakehead canes.
No, on,
Yes.
and off the cane are spent grain bags. That's perfect. Just empty bags to keep your stuff in.
That's colostomy.
I will.
Well, there
That's
you
not
go.
spank grain. It's colostomy.
I will say though, collabing with Steve on the Tuss Till Dawn, definitely, gave me good insight into how to make dark beers. I think that he really, has an awesome way with them, and I picked up a few things from him that I think have
I appreciate it, bro.
certainly improved my dark beer brewing. So.
Well, let's crack that because I want to talk about this. Is one of the collabs that I started off the show talking about. There's plenty of collabs out there, and you guys did this. The one that I got from Steve, I actually kept. I'm a weirdo, like
it's still in my
fanboy
fridge.
a weirdo fanboy of Barrage, and I've kept I've kept one of every beer he's brewed, and that was one of the more recent ones besides Manhands from Sand City. So this is a collab between you and Garvies. This is a peanut butter porter.
It's a chocolate peanut butter imperial milk stout.
Milk stout, sorry.
I could smell the peanut butter right now.
Bro, yeah. It's still right there.
This
I feel like,
looks nice.
Steve, you just love milk stouts. Is that safe to say?
I like dark beer.
No, I know you did. But
Oh,
I like dark beer. I like
turtles.
dark beer. And I like turtles. I like turtles.
Why not throw a bag of lactose into
Yeah,
it?
what?
Oh, yeah.
I was
It's
sad.
actually our only collaboration to date.
It is, right?
Because you
Still?
guys.
We're on an island up there.
Thank you.
We're so busy trying,
You are.
trying to chase our own tails every day
Yeah.
that like we don't have time.
How'd you fit that into the schedule?
Well, Steve is an easy kind of guy. you
Yeah,
know?
well, he's not doing shit,
He'll
so...
do-
So I am basically a brew whore.
Except this every 2 weeks. And other than that, he's pretty much open and free.
No, but he's always been one of the people that we really admired and kind of were friends with in the industry. A lot of other breweries are kind of
Bunch of dicks, right?
They're busy. They're busy.
They're busy.
They don't.
Steve's not busy anymore. So.
Steve is the beer whore.
But I mean, honestly, with a collaboration, a lot of times nowadays, people just send them the recipe, they make the beer, and they don't really get together and plan it out. I remember the day that Steve came out, we sat down with a pad and a pencil, and kind
Yes.
of discussed between the two of us what we were going to do. He took some of our ideas, we took some of his ideas, and we made something better than we individually could have made, and that's the way it should.
All he said is, I'm brewing a dark beer. Where the fuck is the peanut butter powder?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just show me in the brewery with the peanut
It
butter
was,
powder.
it was interesting that actually our grain bills that we put together were actually pretty
Yes.
damn similar towards
They
the
were.
end. You know what I mean?
They really were.
Yeah.
And the first time we did it, we really thought about everything. And so then COVID hits, and they reach out again. They're like, we want to do this again. And of course, what the fuck happens? Maybe don't show up because two of our staff members come in contact with COVID.
It happens.
And I was just like, well, I know I don't have to be there. I would love to be there. But the recipe is the recipe, and I know you guys can do a great job.
Yeah.
And actually, the second iteration came out even closer to what we thought it would be.
More peanut buttery.
Well, you always have to tweak it a little bit. Like once it hits the tanks and it hits the can, every time we kind of have some idea.
And the second time was the flavoring.
We
actually,
had worked with two different. It was Olive Nation versus the other
different malts
different flavorings.
Flavorings.
Had,
and the first one we had to use what we had to use, and it just ate up everything. And as John found out. from us doing Tribal Cow, John and Chris actually really questioned me about, are you sure we're using the right amount of flavor? Because this seems like a really large amount.
For the record, when we were taking care of all the flavoring, I admitted I was wrong. I am
Thank you, sir.
Takes a big
adult
man.
that I can
Takes a
admit
big
when
man.
I'm wrong. And it made very much sense to use what we at the quantities that we did when you sit back and look at the different very roasted malts that Steve used in that recipe. That also brewing that beer gave me so much anxiety.
Ben, break this down for me because I want to
talk
hear.
about that later.
We hear about Steve enough. We hear from Steve enough. Give us your angle.
Sucks.
Steve's questions will come up later. What went into the process of Tuss Till Dawn?
Like Mark said already, we sat down one day just at the bar having a few beers, just kind of like, analyzing grain bills together, with a pen and paper. And it was just funny that me and Steve kind of put together what was almost an identical grain bill. We looked at it and it was just very, very small, differences that we just kind of put together to make it our own. And then, really, I think that where the magic happened was just kind of like, these flavorings and the ways that Steve has in flavoring stouts, and as John just said, and he dealt with it himself, and I was kind of like, what are we putting into this beer? But
But it came out great.
But you'd open these packages and smell it, and it's just like, oh, yes, definitely.
Is that something you brought to the table, Steve? The little tiny packages?
I think that's what made it barrage.
Yeah,
You
come on
know,
now.
that's what made the beer
dude.
barrage.
You talking to my wife?
Yeah.
The little tiny
Yeah,
package?
she emailed me about
Great.
a birthday gift next
Great.
year, and I'm like, you got to get a bigger package. It's got to be bigger.
Bigger.
What was the grain bill? What was some of the highlights of this? That really kind
Definitely
of
starting with a base of Maris Otter.
Yes.
Really, really nice English pale malt. Layering the crystal malts, layering the roasted malts. Steve, kind of threw in the idea of the pale chocolate. I've never worked with that before, and I thought that was a really nice addition.
I did that to John too. They were scampering around for pale chocolate.
Well, I mean, I've used pale chocolate before at Oyster Bay. We didn't this time because we couldn't find it anywhere.
Thomas Fawcett.
So I said, "Well, no, I know," and it kills me because I love that malt. So not being able to use it, I was like, "Well, we're just using a full bag of regular chocolate. We're just going with it." So here we are.
Could you split like just a pale and then chocolate and then just?
I mean, there's several different things.
Together?
There are several different things you could do, but that pale chocolate, it's.
I don't think you can replicate it without it.
Yeah, without.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not fully roasted. It doesn't add that full bitterness. It's kind of in the middle.
You know what it is? It's the Cocoa Krispies.
It really is. I used to.
Okay, so Pete's looking at me like a crazy person.
No, we've heard
so-
this.
Well, because so
Go on.
one of the things I love about
me,
how everybody's palate is different.
For
right?
me, it was Honey Smacks.
Fair.
It was right in that Honey Smacks.
Wait a second.
That's Bree's blonde roast oat malt for me. I'm not kidding.
You sure that wasn't the honey Krolsch with the WA Mead Works?
Now,
That's just a beer we
maybe.
That's a beer we brew for us, and other people seem to like it, so we just keep getting to do it.
Yeah.
So I call that a win.
Yeah.
But everybody, with everybody's palate is so different. So you have somebody like Billy Powell, Nightmare and whatnot, who will go, "Oh, this has got Asian pears and this other thing." I'm like, that tastes like a Fruit Loop. Or that tastes like, things from my childhood.
Sorry, Billy.
But it's just interesting how everybody's palate disseminates something different.
Yeah.
Like the first time we did our abusive stout that was bourbon barrel aged, I'm carving this beer and it's running through the Zom, and I went, "What the hell?" And everybody's looking at me. I'm like, "I'll be right back." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "I go to the supermarket." I get in my car, I run down the Stop and Shop like 3 blocks away from the brewery, and I buy a box of Yodels.
Ooh.
Because that's what it smelled like to me. And I went, "Smell this, now eat that." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Trust me."
And that's what he always says to all his girlfriends.
Trust me, I'm a professional.
Trust me, I'm a professional.
I
smell this, eat that.
That's what I was going with.
Oh, yeah.
The real one.
I walked right into that.
Yes, you did, sir.
Like
saw
at
where that
full
was
speed,
going
there's a
and I just let it
John-shaped
happen.
hole in the wall.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, in your book that you wrote, isn't that one of the poems? It's like,
Thoughts from
trust
the
me,
brew
I'm a professional. Eat that, smell that, and
Smell this, eat that.
smell this,
Yeah,
eat that.
I like it. That should have been the name of the title of the
So
book.
finish the yodel story. So
Yeah.
Yes.
But so now here I
Read
am
the
back at the
yodels.
brewery with a box of yodels. The first time I'm having a yodel at this point in probably 20 years. Yeah. And
You ate the whole fucking box, didn't you?
no.
I gotta go back to the supermarket.
Another box of yodels.
Motherfuckers.
No. Actually, the problem with snack food in the brewery is Little Dubbies.
Well, we know. Shh, don't- wait.
Oh, wait,
did
I
you say
can't say
that?
that. Sorry,
Little
Dubbies.
Dubby.
I'm sorry, just Dubbies. Do
Yeah, just
Careful
stubbies.
now.
you want to get sued?
Or you call them
Cease and desist.
you call them diddle lubbies.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how you do it. That's how I learned that. You just switch around the first word, a letter of each word, and you got yourself a brand new thing, and everyone knows what it is.
Yeah, dig old Bix. Something
Yeah.
like that.
There you go. Damn big old
And
bitch over there.
he's got the right idea.
got big lighters.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bet you do.
Very good.
Oh, God.
Any good beer is risky, you know.
Not for nothing, that casting couch is really killing me.
They're getting into the mood.
Big old dicks over here.
Big old bigs.
Wait, maybe I should
On
say-
the casting
what is it,
couch.
Dig
We're
Old
gonna
Bitties or
rename
something
it.
like that?
The honorary Dig Old Bix couch.
Get the neon sign of like the eggplant glowing.
Don't get me started. I'll put it on every screen. Every screen will be on.
The big old eggplant.
But that's it.
Anyway.
I mean, what Steve brought to what you guys were brewing, Ben, it was just this thing that turned. I mean, the first iteration we had was delicious. This is the second, correct? This is
Yes.
that second turn.
Yes.
So I feel like for me, and again going back to individual palates, it's a lot more peanut butter. There's
Yes.
less
There
chocolate, more
was
peanut
an
butter.
important aspect of, we use uni tanks.
Yeah.
We do not transfer the bright, and when you're transferring the bright, it's easier to add fining agents, certain things, and they mix more properly.
Yep.
When we added the first peanut butter addition on the first one, it kind of didn't quite mix as well as we'd hoped. Some of those last kegs.
It was
that we-
oily.
Yeah, some of those last kegs that we kegged off were a little oily.
And are you using the peanut butter powder or is it peanut butter
No,
extract?
it was a flavoring.
Flavor, all right.
It's Steve's secrets. over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
no,
it's not a secret.
I just found a way.
Like an
of-
extract kind of thing, or
There are several different companies that make extracts. They make emulsions.
Emulsion.
And the majority
A
of
swirl.
a majority of them are been TTB.
They're all TTB
Yes,
certified.
yes.
And
Yeah.
easy to add in.
And so when you send your recipe to the government, which you're supposed to do when you have any type of adjuncts or additives, it's already been approved. So it's not something like, hey, I'm using oxbow fucking balls or something.
It's a hot new adjunct.
Yeah.
But me and Steve
as
went
one
back
does.
and forth together, and I was like, "Listen, Steve, I'm about to drop, basically a growler's worth of peanut butter, juice into this thing. How are you going about it?"
peanut butter
and
juice.
there was just a way of kind of just running the carb stone, making sure that CO2 was bubbling through the tank before we added it, so that as soon as it hit the top of the liquid, it just completely and totally mixed through, the beer. And it's more about making sure that these additions are completely and thoroughly mixed throughout the tank by the time that you add them.
And also fermented out. So,
Yes.
you
Yeah,
got to make
yes,
sure
yes.
that, the...
you don't want
Because
aluminum hand grenades.
there is some sugar in them.
I was going to say, actually, that the first one, didn't we? There was a couple of
There were a
places.
few gushers on the show.
Couple places.
But you know what? I remember going into one of them. I won't mention a name, but I remember going in and they had a fucking space heater
Yeah.
blowing right on the
Well,
Garvies top, still doing. I'm
yeah,
like,
this is-
come on, bro.
But the thing is like you really need to make stable shelf beer because
Yes.
like it doesn't
Yes.
Yes.
like we get a lot of people down at the brewery, but we also do distribute self-distribute to quality distributors.
I mean, you're in Taste of New York. You're on the beer side of the Total Wine.
yeah. So
And so when
we're in Whole Foods.
you're in a ton of places. How do you guarantee that consistency and quality to
Kevin-
Thorough,
Yeah.
final ferment, just full fermentation. And,
And-
then if we're adding fruit, making sure that it hits its final gravity and everything is fermented out.
Can I ask a dumb question then? Like, I've never had it, but you see this stuff about like 450 North.
And,
bomb.
and don't get
How
me
the
wrong.
fu- like, how does that happen? how do we, as an industry, how do you get to that point?
If you add fresh fruit to a beer like that and don't let it ferment, it is delicious. But you're essentially making juice. I love it. And we've had previous batches that were, the fruit didn't fully ferment out, and I've noticed that I enjoyed it more. But in the end, it doesn't translate to a shelf-stable product, and that becomes a problem.
But that's always something you have to worry about with these types of craft beers. I mean, they're not the average beer, so you can't treat them like the average beer.
Right.
So Kevin does a really good job of going out, making sure their assortment is either kept cold or moved, transferred into a cold room or put out and in season.
Not in the front window or something.
Right. When it's
Yeah, like with the sun beating on it all day.
or directly under the heater.
Right.
Yeah. Or right under the
We
space
just got
heater.
Garvies in. Let's put the
Jeez,
stack
what
right
store is that?
outside in
You gotta tell
August.
me.
when it's 100.
I still remember walking in that day and going,
Oh, no.
"Are you fucking kidding me, bro?" For any of the beer that was right there, this is not good.
Well, a lot of the places aren't climate controlled, and in,
No.
in August it's 100 degrees, 105 in the store. They got to make sure that
Still some
these types of
small
beers
here.
are really taken care of because it's a premium product, and we were trying
Sure.
to make sure that it's delivered to the end result, the final person drinking it.
And in the end, it's your name on it.
Yes.
So and
That's the
they're
key.
going to blame you, not
Right.
the
It's,
distributor.
it's
for
not
what may
Farmingdale
have-
Beverage that
Right.
gave them
So-
a shit beer. It's
Right.
Why do you pick that one out?
Yeah,
for,
not
huh?
to name any names. but honestly, like
I drive 3 towns away to go to.
it's a partnership. We have to work with them. So like either we keep their stock low and replenish,
Right.
or we just tell them like you got to keep this cold, and we make a judgment call. So like if we're going to a place, we know that the owner, we know the staff, and we make a judgment call. Like if they order 20 cases or 10 cases or 5 of each. It's a consistent thing, and we try and get the shelf space. Cooler space is very limited, but Kevin does a good job of going in the back and making sure that like they're putting out 2 at a time and moving through them. And in season, when it's 100 in August, we tell them like we're not gonna.
This isn't Michelob Ultra, guys.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you ever hold back? Like they order 10, you hold 5 back.
Yes, of course.
So you can control where it's going to be stored.
Yes.
Give them their 5.
We keep
let them
all
go
of
through.
our beers cold at the brewery for our customers that come down, and we expect our like retailers to do the same.
Right.
But we understand it's
That-
not
the
a
space-
perfect world.
every
The space
other
is
craft brewery
everywhere.
wants them to do that
Right.
as well.
So we work with everybody, and everybody's got to work together to make the world turn. So
I will say though that I think a lot of credit goes out to Todd Anvil.
Canning.
Craft services.
Our
Anvil, yeah.
canners,
Because,
our canners
Todd.
does a great job.
Because,
You guys are still using Anvil.
Yes.
Yeah, after
Nice.
3 years,
Yes, because
never missed a day.
I mean, he's run the DO meter in my tanks a few times, and I always, it's like the only test I've ever taken in a long time, and I passed with flying colors.
Isn't it so nice when you like? He's like, "Oh, bro, your DO today is like," and it's the lowest you ever
Oh yeah,
hit. and
yeah.
you're like,
It's like I think like
Huzzah!
40 or 30
Huzzah!
something, and then I'm just watching it going down all the way to 0.
Yes.
It's like,
That is
but
the one.
I did my job. But the way that he packages it and definitely shows, because we've had beers that I've seen checked in on Untapped that were 6 months old, where I'm like, I wouldn't even want to drink that, but people are still rating it well, and
He earns his keep.
bro.
Yeah, here's his key.
I mean, this held up
This-
amazingly.
That was
I'm
delicious.
Really enjoying
This
it.
got better.
Yeah.
As it should.
Yeah.
It
Right.
did.
As it should.
It really did.
I want to. There's a lot of people on Instagram, believe it or not, and we usually don't get a ton of live people, but there's a ton of live people here on Instagram. So thanks everyone for checking in. We're actually going to take a quick Instagram break because we have some things coming up that I need my phone for. So go over to govsradio.com, follow our link in our Instagram, or you can go onto Facebook or YouTube and type in Govs Radio Comedy Club, and you'll see us live there. Check us out. I'm going to end the live video because we have a segment coming up with Steve, and we're also going to talk all about the beers and all the fantastic recipes going into that. So go over to the high quality information of audio and video. As much as this is great, you're sideways on an Instagram video, so it's just so I can get good things. So let's. I'm going to pick up Steve's questions in just a minute.
We're good.
Anything else
I
about-
usually look at 9:30.
Yeah, I know, but still that doesn't leave much time to talk about the beer, and we usually fall short a little bit on that. So I want your angle on Tusk Till Dawn. How did you feel like the whole process went? What did they bring to the table? And then slowly translate that into how Tribal Cow went? Because I want to crack that next. I want to see these two collaborations back to back.
Yeah, I want to try that.
Yeah, I think we're all like,
Looking forward to that.
let's get on that shit.
Where's it at?
It's a new release, hot new release.
The key for this one, again,
Moo.
Just like that.
wow, you went there.
Getting into the spirit.
You mooed it.
All right, go ahead.
No, I had a
drink it?
slurp. I had a slurp. Sorry. No, and again, I appreciate you guys having me as the one and only, actually, still collaboration that you guys did. I was, again, always a big fan of you guys from day one. I liked what you guys were doing, and not everybody realizes this, but I love the dynamic that Mark and Ben actually have together, and it worked. They work actually very well together.
Or a yin and a yang.
Yeah, you really are, because Mark is always, for me, like, dot every I, cross every T. Ben's like, bro, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna brew the fuck out of this beer. It's gonna be delicious. And Mark's like, well, it's gonna cost us $375,000. We're gonna make, and that's the great thing about you guys, because you work symbiotically so well together. And I've actually seen Mark on his real bad days. I've seen Mark in CBC when we got really, really, really drunk in a Uber.
That was a lot of fun. I was telling them about that.
And not even sure how we got where the fuck we were.
Oh, God.
But we had the greatest time.
I've heard multiple stories.
Oh, bro, it was so good. It was really that was Nashville.
Yeah, it was we call it Smashville.
Yeah, it was so good, man.
And
Pronounced Smashville.
We got lit like nobody's business.
Is that one of the ones where you jump in the taxi, you look to your right, and you're like, "Oh shit, what's up?" Like,
No, where'd
you come from?
We went to like some. It was supposed to be like a beer release, and we couldn't get in. Jimmy Woo was with us.
Yeah.
And we were just like, fuck this.
The canners were with us too. Todd.
Yes!
And Pete.
And Pete from Malt Man.
Yes, that's right.
Those guys are maniacs. They were popping around the bars
Yes.
before we could even look up. So
It
it was a
was-
great time. And
It was great.
you know-
And the best part about it too, Mike.
Yeah.
My wife's with me, and
Yeah.
she's totally sober. And
So
she's
she can
totally
direct
tober.
you.
Are you going to tell the Mark
Totally
story
Tober.
here?
and
So you're going to tell them what's totally Tober?
Totally Tober.
You know,
He
that's,
was-
that's a good
You're not gonna
Oktoberfest
tell
name. Totally Tober Oktoberfest.
he was like mumbling words.
That's what I
He
say to
was,
the cops.
Yeah,
I'm so
I'm
toast.
totally Tober.
I'm totally tobered. But yeah, we had such the greatest time, and we just kind of ran into each other, and again, it was a great time. But
So I know how to have a good time. you're trying to say.
yes, you do, sir.
There
Just
you go.
like Ben.
Yes.
But again, you guys really work together as a team. Where sometimes you have people that have
Differences.
animosity.
We don't
whatever.
bitch and moan. We get
No,
what
no.
we
We don't
see.
step on each other's toes. We each show up and do our own job.
And you know what?
And it doesn't matter what's going on. We're getting it done. I don't think me and him have ever taken a sick day. We show up. We get it
And
done.
the thing is, you guys have been friends for goddamn how
since fifth
long?
grade.
So
Fifth grade.
that really, and again, and you guys make great beer.
Thank you.
On top of just doing that, and I mean, when he broached the subject of doing this beer, the key for me was, all right, we're going to do a beer. That's great. But then they started telling me about the artwork, and then on the can itself, it has the
Coordinates.
the coordinates
of the
to find the mural in the park. I'm like, holy fuck!
So
this
this
is
is a
one of the coolest things I've ever heard.
Well, the name came from the art. And then,
Yes.
normally it doesn't happen that way. Normally, you have the beer, you have a name, and you kind of, maybe then design the art.
And
but this one, and also Otto's Revenge as well, the two series we worked with this guy, the name stemmed from the artwork,
and of course,
Wellwind series.
Tusk Till Dawn.
Peanut butter.
Wellwind Wall.
Peanut butter.
They come up with the idea of, well, elephants like peanuts, so
Yeah,
let's
sure.
do a fucking peanut butter,
A
stout.
circus.
Who doesn't like peanuts?
And you can drink it from dusk till dawn.
Oh man!
With that said, we got some
Look at
questions
you.
coming up. Let's hear it with our own Steve Fominski.
Oh, shit.
Hey, you cool hep cats. Tonight, we bring you a very special presentation. 3 questions with our very own Steve Pominski. Yeah. Steve's questions. 3 questions from Steve. 3 questions. Steve's questions. Go.
Steve, you're up, buddy.
I gotta go.
Were you on the phone? Honey, I'll call you later.
Some water to rinse out the glass with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get that
Because-
peanut butter powder out of there.
Your peanut butter, because then it'll just be yada yada
Well, it's
yada.
not powder, right? This guy. I got a bucket. Anyone need a bucket and a mop?
And a
Mop.
No,
bucket and a
I'm
mop.
drinking this water.
As I did.
I'm drinking that water too.
That's how
I
you
didn't
survive
realize that was
festivals.
an option.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Is Cardi B here?
Yes, exactly.
Hey, whoa, WAP.
Easy, easy. Steven, take it away.
Oh, look at this.
No, don't. All right. So we'll just
Okay.
do this.
Oh,
Kill some
oh,
time.
I'm pouring my beer. All right, so gentlemen, we're gonna have 3 questions. I'm gonna ask.
All 4 of you.
Yes, at once. You got to answer it at the same time.
And go.
So it's 3 questions, 1 question at a time. We're gonna go. We'll start with Mark, and we'll just go around.
Sure.
And I love asking these questions because the answers sometimes are really the same as we've gotten from other brewers,
but not
but
always. We're always surprised
sometimes
by
is
that.
that rare,
Yeah.
crazy. All right. So the first question is going. The first question is going to be: what is that beer that you had that turned you on to craft beer? What was that one you said, "What the fuck is this? I need to have more of this." How is this happening, Mark?
For me, it was Firestone Double Barrel, their double IPA.
Nice.
See, that's a random.
That
we
is-
haven't had
that
that
is-
one
we
before.
haven't
That's
had
the first.
that.
Yeah.
That was a classic.
Yeah.
That was one of the
Oh my
ones.
God!
that,
Yes.
I would say for me it was probably Blue Point's Optical Illusion, just with the psychedelic labels and
Nice.
following jam bands. At the time.
We've over the time we've actually had toasted lager and stuff like that from Blue Point, which is very cool to see because they really did kind of start
No, they paved the way.
the
for
Long
a-
Island Revolution,
Yeah,
so to
yeah.
speak.
But the beer that kind of developed and started my love for sour beer and kind of sent us in the direction that we did. Mark brought me a Cascade apricot.
Yes,
And-
you
and-
did.
and
was
Cascade Barrel House sours.
Yes,
I mean,
you did.
Does it get any better than
So
that?
So that was actually the first beer we cracked after we completed our first professional brew. Was I think it was a
Bourbonic Plague, maybe?
No, Bourbonic Plague came in the mail. I think it was the raspberry.
Allegedly.
Raspberry
In a white
Cascade.
envelope.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And-
Cascade sours.
Yep.
Johnny?
So for me, I'm gonna have to cite 2 different beers. First, I'm gonna say for sours was Petrus.
Ooh, yes.
It was just after Sandy. At the time, I was actually selling wine wholesale, and I'm up waiting to meet the bar manager at Three Village Inn before the Lessings took it over.
Oh.
And I ordered a beer, and the guy's like, "Well, most of this got wiped out in Sandy, but I have this." I'm like, "Well, sure, let me try this." And it was the first sour beer I ever had. And went, "Give me all of this now," because I mean, I love acidity. I'm a fan of palate scrapers. I mean, I try to make balanced sours, but like if you're salivating for 20 minutes after you finish the beer, that's for me.
Nice.
And then the other would have to be Blushing Monk from Founders.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Triple Belgian, fermented on whole raspberry, and I remember the one and only time I went to BCTC at Omegang that they were there with that on draft on the jockey box, and went, "I have found heaven," and it is this man with a beard and a jockey box. And I was like,
No, wait.
Can I be your new best friend?"
Was the guy heaven or was it the beer? It
was the beer.
Okay, all right.
It was definitely
Or
the
both.
beer.
Could be both.
Or it could be both. It could be both.
Could be both.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, raspberry. What can
I
I
knew a
tell
guy named Heaven.
I've got a good jockey box SKI story.
Oh shit!
I was pouring Founders at Martha Clare, one of the the craft classics, and working for SKI, I was pouring Founders, and I was pouring Dirty Bastard at the time. And every single person that came up to me called me a dirty bastard.
I always wanted to have a beer called "Your Mother's a Whore." So when people would walk up, they would be, "Hey, can I get your mother's a whore?" "Oh, your mother's a fucking whore." How about that?
We actually think about that a lot. Like,
I love that.
people asking
I can't even
to
express
order
how much
the
I love
beer.
that.
Right.
It's like, right.
They have on the
It
phone
hits
tell
you
you.
right there,
They
doesn't
have
it?
to.
I connect with that. That's
Yes.
beautiful.
Didn't you name a
just-
couple like lions, tigers, and bears? Like just
Oh no! What did we have?
Oh, no.
Oh
My.
that was one of my favorites.
No, we
beers.
had a
That one
beer.
was
We
good.
had a beer that a bunch of like guys would come up and they wouldn't fucking ask for it because they were so emasculated by it. What the hell was the beer? It was
God, I
A
know
woman's
what you're
soft
talking-
touch.
Nerd girl.
yeah. It was no. It
something like
was
that.
Touch me in the morning or
touch me in the morning.
Yes.
I don't want to
Touch
say
me
that
in
either.
the morning.
That's all we could ever ask for.
And guys would walk up and they were like,
Touch me in the morning.
Can I just get the saison?
So I love this. I love this for
The real courageous people. Can you touch me in the morning?
Yeah. And I went, well, it's the afternoon, but yes.
So I love this because, as you know, I have a Hellas named The Beer.
Yes.
Love it.
Which was
Because-
delicious. You gave Kevin some to drop off at the brewery.
Absolutely.
They were amazing.
Gotta, always share with your friends and
Sure.
your brewers in arms.
And I appreciate it.
Not all of them ended up at the brewery. Some of them are in Kevin's house.
Well, you know.
But
He
so,
gave me a case. I gave him a 4-pack.
Look what John gave us the sample.
This man is business savvy right there.
Here, John gave you this 4-pack.
but so before brewing that at Dubco, people would always ask me like, I used to be behind the bar every Friday night. And they'd be like, "Well, what do you recommend?" I'm like, "A parent cannot choose between its children." I just, and then I started just saying, "I recommend the beer." Like, drink the
Try
beer.
the beer.
Have you tried the beer? And so when that beer first came out, and then I started using that joke, they'd be like, "Oh, ha ha," and I'd point to the board and they'd be like, "Oh shit."
He's right.
Yeah.
Their beer is there.
There is
Late
the
beer.
beer. Kevin?
Oh, right. We're still doing that.
Oh, we got more, brother.
Oh, man. So simple enough for me was probably like my little journey into flavor began with Dogfish 90.
There you go.
Oh.
Boom.
Boom, right in my
Everyone's
face.
looking at me like I'm the dogfish.
Well, you're the 60 boy.
I love
Yeah,
the
and I-
60s 6-pack on a Sunday. Oof, that'll do me right.
And a very random secondary beer was Founder's IPL, the Dissenter.
Ah.
If anybody remembers that.
IPL,
yes.
Steve. You have some thoughts
Comments.
on IPL.
Comments on IPLs.
See. Let's see. Yeah, fuck everybody. And it's a great beer.
It was a fucking great beer.
It was one of
Sure
my
was.
favorites.
I remember the first time we had you on, you were so fucking excited for that beer too.
well.
You had the release party
Right.
with the
Bro,
fucking band.
I'm hanging out with fucking Gary Holt and fucking
Yeah.
Alex Skolnick and Mike Portnoy. I'm hanging out with fucking metal gods. And they're drinking my beer and going, "This is fucking awesome."
That was pretty cool.
Double bass, double bass, double
Oh
bass.
my god.
Steve,
China symbol, China symbol.
Steve, you had another IPL. Was it Lion Tigers or was that? a
No,
different beer?
I'm really not okay.
We actually-
I'm okay now.
We poured together at a Croxy's event.
Oh, yes,
and,
yes.
and your
Yeah, no,
your IPL was like I think
Yeah,
the greatest.
because
Yeah,
I
that
looked
was
at
one
him
of the
and
best
said, "I'm
ones.
not okay now," because I didn't realize it was like 9-5
Yeah.
until like my fifth one. Meanwhile,
You were there.
Chris,
We were all there.
Meanwhile, Chris and I got like we had like a 12-hour day. We're done at like 6, and I'm going home. He's like, "We have this event at Crocs." I went, "What?" I'm going to die. And then I'm drinking. I'm okay now.
and it was delicious.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
it was.
That was one of the best beers on tap that night.
There you
That,
go.
and that was the night I met Rich Preston as well.
Oh, and now he's your best buddy.
Yeah.
Because you own a brewery and
Become a regular.
and he loves your beer. All right. Second question. What is your favorite style?
Favorite style. That's very, very tough. I mean, I always say that craft beer is like music. You don't listen to the same band every day.
Like
Tell
it?
'em.
Yeah,
It has
that's
to
a
do
great
with
answer.
The mood you're in, the time of year it is. I mean, if I had to make a decision, it would have to be a double IPA.
There you go.
Okay.
On that, I'm a big audio guy. Love sound, do a lot of mixing and stuff like that. Found a new band through like some tutorial that I was watching on something. Spirit Box. Anyone hear of Spirit Box?
No.
So check out on Spotify on the way home today. You will not go to sleep after listening to this track. Spirit Box's Holy Roller. It kept me up.
It's not a
Because
Holy
it was-
Diver cover?
No. You'll,
Holy diver!
it's
Love that fucking song.
It's a lot of it's metal.
Spirit
But
Box.
it's like that metal that I can stand. That's not
Fuck off.
that's that Pete's into.
It's okay.
And it's really to me it was
And
like
you didn't even wear the shirt tonight.
the
Either.
the riff on Holy Roller to me was awesome. So this morning I listened to classical jazz. I was just listening to jazz music.
Squeeze it up.
No. It was Steve's questions. I was listening to that track.
Steve's questions.
I was like, yeah,
3.
smooth.
Yeah. Smooth,
Cool
baby.
cats.
Cool cats here.
Cats and then all of a sudden I turn on Spirit Box and I go, holy shit, I'm in the mood for this now, right now. Let's go. And I felt like you said before, kicking in. I think John, you said kicking down a wall, and it just has the silhouette of
right,
me
yeah,
through
yeah.
the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. I was just through the roof. You guys, I'm telling you,
I'll give it a go.
it's one of those things. I'm like, oh my god, that riff is just ridiculous. That's exactly how I equate craft beer. It's like you don't listen to the same music every day. You want something different. You have something different.
a good way of putting it, yeah.
Today I'm really feeling this, and boom, you hit it right, and it's perfect.
Speaking of which, real quick shout out. We make our Oktoberfest for the band Talk.
Yes.
They are very good.
They are very good.
They are very good.
They just released a new album, and they are currently going on. Just started their tour. Talk band. Check them out.
Is it a real collaboration? Did you guys do it
Yes,
in conjunction with them?
They wanted to start a beer music festival.
Nice,
And
okay.
they wanted to call it Talktoberfest, and they approached us, and they're like, "What beer would we make for that?" And
What do you
it
think?
was like, "Duh." and then
You just said it.
So we're making a porter.
And then I think Mark actually bought me the book Brewing Classic Styles. You know, it became toilet reading eventually. But, you know, I just went through that and read, you know, brewed a textbook.
Anything is
Marzen.
toilet reading if you try hard enough.
Toilet reading is right. That's where I soak up the best information. Man.
Toilet.
Stays with you.
Exactly. But, you know,
we were both kind of like in the band when we were little, but not the actual band. They became professional musicians. We became professional beer guys. So, I mean, it was just a natural fit.
What did you play in the band?
I played rhythm guitar. Ben played drums.
Yeah, there
I
you
actually
go.
thought he was going to say piccolo.
You know
but,
what? We
I
got
played the harp.
we have a
a
full
little
band.
bit of triangle.
More
Everybody
cowbell.
I was just gonna say, who played the cowbell?
Tribal cow. Tribal cow. More cowbell.
Never got past
Steve,
the
Steve
quarter.
can play guitar. He can play some lead, and I can play drums. We got a full band ready to go right now.
By the way, I like that
Oh,
the
wait,
cow has
and-
tramp stamps.
And you're going to play the Guerrero.
Bass.
Yes. You play bass?
I did for a little bit.
Did
yeah.
you?
stand up.
Well, then you can take the bass, and I'll just
stand
do.
up.
I'll do secondary percussion. How about
Secondary
A keg like
percussion.
clown and slip.
that? Yeah, yes. You could be like
Yes.
Slipknot and play the 50-gallon drums of oil.
The beer keg.
The kegs.
Kegs.
I like that. That's gonna work out well.
John, what's your favorite?
So, I mean, I already touched on it. Hellas.
Nice.
I thought you were
Well,
gonna say
Dubco the
pallet.
beer.
I thought you were gonna say pallet scraper.
No, because here's why I tell as many customers as I can when they come in. Whenever you go to a new brewery, first thing you should order is a lager.
Yep.
Because
Tells you
you can't hide
everything you need to
Pilsner
know.
or
because you
something,
can't hide
yeah.
anything
No
that
flaws.
you screw up. There's any flaws are going to come through in the beer, and that's a testament to the brewer and how much time and passion they're putting into what they're doing because they want to make sure that beer is delicious and uniform. Like uniformity is a big thing in our industry, and anybody in this room can tell you that. You want to make sure that the first time, the second time, the 45th time you're having that beer, it's the same. And
Well, by the 45th time, I'm on the floor.
Well,
so.
especially after the
I don't
first
appreciate
time
that
comes out well.
negativity.
it's damn negativity in this room
Exactly.
now.
But you're absolutely right.
pit of
Steve.
the
If that
Yeah.
first time comes out well, you want it always to be that way. If that first time, yeah, well, maybe the second one's better.
Absolutely, but that's also why it goes back to notation is everything.
Oh my God!
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm very fortunate to have learned from the brewers that I have. Ivan Dedick,
Ivan!
that crazy genius. Like
love that boy.
he when he came into Oyster Bay, I would not be 1/10 of the brewer I am if I did not work with that man. And the funny thing is, we butted heads at first. And then we realized we share a birthday. He's 6 years older than me. It's like, oh, we're the same
Really?
asshole.
He spoke highlights of you. Sure.
Ivan's
yeah.
he's to this day. If I have a question,
That goddamn mic.
I pull out the
He's
phone.
a good guy.
Yeah,
Love it.
Nah, he makes great beer and he's killing it up in Myers
Yes.
Creek.
Yeah.
He's killing it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And not only that, when I have a question, I pull up my phone and I ask this guy, and he responds and gives me great advice every time.
There's
you know.
back and forth and a lot of memes.
But
The
isn't
memes that get us through the days.
But also, back to the Hellas, thing. Kevin stopped by Dubco at one point and brought home case 4-pack. I don't know how much.
We don't
4
know.
pack.
I got a 4-pack.
Thanks. Appreciate it. It was
You
definitely
got a
a
can.
4-pack.
You got a can.
And I drank John's Hellas, and I messaged him, and I was like, "This is a very perfect lager. I love it a lot. And John, you could tell how much it meant to him because he was like, I make this beer for myself.
Yes.
This is what I want to make. You know, like.
And tell me how, because I had it. How bready wonderful was that?
Oh, amazing! I mean, at 6% for a lager. I mean, I might aim for more like 5, but at 6%, at 6% you're gonna get some breadiness for sure. But
So,
it was really really good, and it meant a lot to him.
It's a
So
craft.
I'm
It's
gonna,
a craft lager.
I'm gonna let you know a little secret and bring it back to
9%.
uniformity again.
Ooh.
So it was supposed to be 5%. The first time it was 6 and change. The second time it was 6. So that's what it is. So now I'm being uniform. So there you go.
As you should.
You're going to get
Exactly.
consistency whether you like it or not.
And it drinks,
And there we are.
and it drinks like it's 4%.
Well, that's good. That's
Actually
what you
does.
want out of it.
It really
for sure.
does.
Who else left on
No,
the
we're up
trash
to
number two?
well,
Ben for style,
Ben
right?
for style.
What's your favorite style of beer?
Well, like I said, in some of my more formative years of homebrewing, I spent most of my time kettle souring, figuring out sours, kind of, scouring milk defunct, and kind of figuring out mixed fermentation and just working with different
So,
bacteria.
porter. Okay.
Sour stout.
Sour
I don't know. Wasn't Brett C. Cultured from a infected porter at one
There you
point?
go.
I believe so. But
Look at with his knowledge over there.
I don't read it.
Love
I
it.
do research.
Live it.
Love it.
But I would say, probably as I alluded to before, the Cascades mixed fermentation goose. Goose.
Yeah, well, goose.
Wow.
Goose.
Okay.
Like a true old goose.
That's
Three different year blend.
That's the style I hate the most.
3, 4.
I'm not even joking. I fucking hate that
It's
style
because
so
of
much.
your stomach, though. It's not
Most
because
of,
you don't like
most
the
of my
taste.
opinions aren't fan
No,
favorites.
because I
trust
will
me.
shit my pants later in the day. And this has come up many, many times on the Wort.
Old goose, favorite style.
In old goose.
I love it.
Kev?
Live it.
Live it. So
He's living.
for me, if I was going to say anything other than IPA, it would be Alive. But I also love the sentiment of Mark talking like just drinking with whether it be the seasons or what you're going with. Like lately, I'm on board with John with the Hellas lagers. These sorts of just really just easier drinking beers that are just they're just loaded with flavor.
Beer flavored beer.
Beer flavored beer, not
beer.
short on flavor. Which
That's one of our favorites.
it's amazing
actually.
that beer flavored beer could also
Beer flavored
be
beer is definitely
across the board
right
just
up.
lacking
Yeah.
flavor.
like Belgians and then beer flavored beer.
So beer in
That's-
general.
Beer.
I love beer. I love beer.
And beer.
Do we have alcohol?
And
there?
beer. And is there alcohol in it?
I love
Right,
beer.
we're on the right track.
So the final and the third question of 3 questions,
Yes.
Steve. You go to a restaurant. Any beer that could be on tap, what is that one beer that you want other than one that you make? See, usually when there's another brewer in the building, you choose his. But I'm not going to make you do that.
No,
don't do that.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm only
mean,
fucking with you.
Don't say Alan.
I'm only
me-
fucking with you.
For me, it would be Hill Farmstead. I mean, I've-
Anything or a specific like an Edward or a,
no, I
Edward's
had
wonderful.
I had one that they'll probably never make again at the Blind Tiger. I ordered probably 10 of them in a row because they were so good. And I knew I would never get the chance to drink this beer again.
Sean Hill right now is going, thank you so much.
I mean, it's very circumstantial. So like when you're in the right place at the right time with the
Yep.
right beer,
Yep.
it's hard to pick. I mean, so I won't mention the name of the beer because you'll probably never be able to find it. But that's kind of
You
like
can make us feel sad.
that's
Oh,
no,
Jealous.
I mean, no, excited. You know, now we can go back out to bars. We can go back out to our favorite
Yeah.
restaurants. We can search out our favorite brews. So I'll leave it up to you to decide what's your favorite beer.
what's your favorite beer?
Johnny?
So I'm gonna shout out to a little place that unfortunately closed their doors in the last year. Say Cheese in Port Jeff.
Yes.
Love that place, and that's where I found.
We spoke about
We
this.
spoke about this the other day.
Was it Chris?
Well, I mean those guys are awesome, but Iyengar's Marzen.
Angers, yes.
That is what
I had that last weekend.
that is every year at this time. I go out, I get a few bottles, I drink them by my. It's almost like a spiritual, thing for me.
Where do you find them?
I used to collect.
Dumb luck,
I used to
honestly.
collect a little
Dusty
ghost.
on the back of a shelf somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's a lager.
Dusty, old Dusty back there.
Yeah.
I was at an
But-
Oktoberfest in Vermont last weekend. They had angers.
Oh, really?
John has to touch a lot of rabbit's foots.
Oh.
They're lucky. They're lucky.
And he doesn't mind because it's delicious, for sure.
I mean, I got the hands to touch a lot at the same time. So,
Johnny Hands in the house.
Johnny Hands.
That Say Cheese, we went there when it first opened. Delicious.
That
Awesome
place
little
was so
place.
good, man.
Say cheese was good.
Something that Port Jeff definitely benefited from. And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a
Sure.
great little shop with the
Sorely
beer,
missed.
beer store in the background.
Port
Absolutely.
Jeff and anybody who went in there benefited from that shop.
Yeah,
Seriously, like I have such fond memories.
damn.
Ben went to college in Stony Brook, so he.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was right around
Oh.
the corner for sure.
Nice. Oh, shit. Well, you know what? They'll come back somewhere else, and you'll see it. They're not ones to seem like they're going to just roll over and die. And
No,
and,
absolutely. They
come
were
back
they were
when
they
things
were
get better.
passionate people.
Yeah.
They were passionate.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, yes.
And that showed through everything they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, did they turn into delivery during the pandemic?
I'm not sure they made it that far.
No,
they
I
didn't.
don't- I
They
mean-
didn't make it
they-
there.
Yeah,
During
very
the-
poor.
During the height of the pandemic, it was called like 100 hours at Dubco with me and Chris, just drinking earlier and earlier every day and coming up with dumb names for beers. So what happened outside of those walls, I couldn't tell you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Till you made
me and
a
Mark were in for
cheese sauce adjunct on an IPA called Say Cheese, in honor of our fallen friends. Go ahead, Ben. What do
Ben,
you think?
Favorite? I'll tell you straight up.
Yeah, if you go to a restaurant bar right now,
No, my absolute favorite brewery is Treehouse Brewing Company. I think that they are the greatest. They make the best IPA. I don't know what the hell they
Okay,
do. I've tried to analyze.
you don't want to know this then because a buddy of mine just came back today from Treehouse, and I know tomorrow he's
secret?
he's dropping off about 2 cases of all different types of Treehouse beers. So if you want
What
to
are you
stop
doing
over
this
my
weekend?
house tomorrow,
Gladly.
Party
we
at
could,
Steve's.
we could get all fucking stupid and lay,
I
lay on the front lawn.
I spent 6 hours in the car for no reason the other, but
There's
yes,
a reason.
There's something that
There is a reason,
There's
yes.
something they do. I don't know if it's the water profile, the mixture of yeast that I've read. I don't know what it is, but I think that they make the best IPAs.
We're
that
gonna
have
figure it
ever
out.
been made.
Yeah, someone's going to figure decode the.
What do you like from them? What's your favorite treehouse? Do you have one?
I would say the Storm series, Perfect
Oh,
Storm,
okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect Storm, Hurricane, Typhoon, Super Typhoon. I think that I would say that Perfect Storm. I would say is probably my favorite of all.
I'm a big fan of summer and winter.
Nice.
Those-
Winter's
snow.
yeah,
Is it snow? Snow.
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 Green
Yeah.
and Ma for me.
Yes.
That
Well,
would be
those
so-
are the. I like the seasonals though. For some reason,
I'm a doppelganger guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Delicious.
That and their lagers, like honestly, they're not just the
Yeah,
one drink.
no.
Their lagers are so on point.
Yeah.
And they have one of the few black IPAs that I love to drink.
Yes, sir. Boom, boom,
Have
boom.
you had mine?
Speaking of which,
Not yet.
Speaking of which,
But
speaking of
Raven.
which, we
Wait, is
have
there an Eleanor over there?
I see Eleanor.
shit.
Break it out.
Another new release.
damn.
I wasn't coming empty-handed.
I wasn't coming
yeah.
empty-handed.
Speaking of black IPAs,
Which is again one of my favorite styles, black IPA. Anyone that makes it, I have to try it. It's like the guacamole, or it's like the French onion soup at a
guacamole.
restaurant.
Quintessential craft beer style.
Yes,
Just
I
like
need to
just
try
like
it.
a smoked porter.
Just like everyone says, the Pilsner, the lager. You got to me. If you make a good black IPA, I'm gonna enjoy everything that you do.
and it was one style that we kind of threw together. I wouldn't say that I went into it confident. I just kind of made it, and it was something
I
we needed
didn't
to
go
do.
into it. I love that honesty. I didn't go into it
I'm a
confident.
humble man,
but
Steve.
I
I'm a
am
humble
I
man.
am fucking thinking it's gonna be good.
But like with my knowledge, and I think we put together a nice grain bill, and it came out great, and it became one of our most requested beers. I mean, even during the summer,
Ours
people
is-
are
As
like,
it should.
Ours is
All
called the
year long.
Nightcap Black IPA. But
Yes.
let's try this Eleanor. Let's go.
Let's
I like the
go.
name.
Wait
Kev?
to get
Kev.
wait to get
Oh,
your
right.
your
Well, this
rabbit
one's a
foot
little
rubbed.
bit stronger.
My answer to the question is probably going to be either something classic like Nugget Nectar. Once a year, am I right? Something really
shit.
malty, nice, just super sweet at the end.
Little Trogs Nugget Nectar.
Little Nugget Nectar. You know what I mean? I'll be super happy with that. And if I'm going to give a second beer, because I said IPAs are my favorite, and you don't see it anymore, and I'm really heartbroken about it. At least around here, is AleSmith IPA.
Nice.
AleSmith.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't see that much.
You don't.
Wow.
I really haven't.
AleSmith for the longest time was like everywhere. You could
It
find
was.
it everywhere,
Right.
and it was always big bottles. It was
Yep.
big
Big
format.
bombers.
Speedway Stout.
Yes,
Yep.
bro, that was the one.
That's
That
why
and Bear Republic.
Yeah, the Bear Republic
Yeah.
race,
Sure.
race car,
Racer-
Racer
Racer
X.
5.
Racer
Racer 5.
5.
Racer 5.
Racer 5.
My favorite black IPA ever, which Ben and I kind of based the nightcap off of, is Wookiee Jack.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm. You got
Minus
it.
the
we
minus
got a
the
high
rye.
five.
Minus
Minus
the
the rye.
rye.
No,
I
no.
find it-
I see. I love the rye in that. The Wookiee Jack.
Wookiee Jack is an amazing beer. You don't even see it on the shelf anymore.
But why
you know?
minus the
you
rye?
can't get it. They don't make it anymore.
Yeah, that's sad.
But that's why the beer industry is so fun, because it changes every year. Like every year.
I actually just was on. I was just actually on a Sam Annan's put out. Okay, we're going to do a little bring back something old, and
Okay.
one of the beers was Old Fizzywig.
The old physical.
That was one of their
They
winter
haven't-
seasonals.
They haven't. Yes, they haven't made it, and if it got enough votes, which I think it did, they're bringing it back. Wow! And it will not be in the variety pack. It will be in a regular
by
4
itself.
I
pack.
fucking hate those variety packs. It's like
Jesus.
I don't want 3
'Cause it's-
Boston
thank you.
lagers.
Right?
Like it's a fucking it's a great beer. And I'm not taking anything away. I've had it. I'm team. I don't want it in the goddamn variety pack.
Oh, look. Oh, that's
Get me.
beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Cheers, guys.
So I just rubbed my own rabbit's foot, just so you know, as I'm drinking Illinois.
Jesus Christ.
Well, so
I'm rubbing mine right now.
Everybody rub their
was
rabbit's
me.
foot.
But I call it the
Hope it's
turtle.
lucky.
I call it the turtle's foot
tur-
because I like turtles.
I think they're-
I like
here's
not
the
turtle
only
enough
issue
for
I
you?
have. I'm not going to fully appreciate this until I have my own tomorrow, fresh
Well,
out of the gate,
when-
because we've just
When we leave
destroyed-
tonight, I'm gonna give
No,
you.
no, I know. Thank you. I'm just saying I destroyed my palate with all that peanut butter, coconut, and caramel.
Yes, we kind of did go the wrong way.
And I'm
but-
not getting
did.
everything, but I could tell right now the hops that I like
Yeah.
that are floating around in this black IPA
Cascade Centennial Citra.
with the little chocolate malt
So-
and everything else. Oh,
So I'm going to say the same thing about brewing this beer the first time as I would say about brewing Tribal Cow. This is Chris's recipe. It's a phenomenal recipe, and the first time I brewed it, I was like, "Don't fuck this up. If you fuck this up, because I know it's one of his favorite beers that he's designed, and I know that the people that love this beer love this beer.
that's me.
So the first time it's like, don't fuck this up. You got this.
Oh.
You know how to brew. You do this. This
can
is
do
your job.
When we brewed Tribal that day, and I saw Eleanor in the tank, and I let these guys know. Yeah, there was a lot of enthusiasm.
Oh, I'm sure.
on that one.
Mostly my part. Because I'll
this
tell
is
you
his
this,
favorite
John. You guys were delivering during COVID. And this was one of the ones that I was looking forward to. I had it prior to the pandemic. And when I saw that hit the list as a home delivery to my house, to my front door. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
To my front door.
I know.
And I got a half a case of Eleanor delivered. It was the week that got me through the week. It was like
Oh,
one
I
of
get
those
it.
crazy weeks. Things were going down.
Would you say black IPA is your favorite style?
No, I wouldn't.
Sour IPAs.
Believe it. No, not even
Really?
close.
No,
No,
but
Cascadian dark.
he
ale.
likes. Yes.
What I would say.
Well, that one too.
Icelandic lagers.
Cascadian Dark Ale.
No,
I hate that
it's
name.
not even that. It's just because it's not a
but
year-round
you have to put that
offering.
in.
Acknowledge it. For sure.
Because it's not a year-round offering. It's special.
Yeah,
To me, it's like that one. I'm like, yes, you look forward to it.
When in Rome.
Right. So when you guys and I'm sure you guys feel the same way when you have that offering that just exploded last year. You're only offering like maybe 10, 20 cases of it. It's in limited capacity. Now that the brewery's open, you have it in kegs as well. You're going to go through it like that because of the outcry that happened in the prior year.
Yeah.
It is the one thing that some people just attach themselves to
absolutely.
and hang their hat on. And I was like, this is the beer that I've been looking forward to
Well, it's
for
like-
like ever.
Like going back to talking about Iyengar's Marzen, for me, it's Oktoberfest season.
Right.
And I'm like a kid in a candy store. I don't care.
All the lagers.
All the lagers, all of the time.
Schwarzbiers, Marzens.
Yeah.
Love them.
Like I just
Don't
I
That's
love it.
the one.
Dongles,
That's the
yes.
one we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
A good Schwartz beer.
Well, I
The one
just
I
had
still
one
really
last
like
night.
is
May the
Long
Schwartz
Beach,
be with
Long
you.
Beach
Yes.
Shipwreck's Black.
And also with you.
Yeah, well,
well,
I just had a shipwreck
I mean,
black last night.
I fucking love that beer.
Yeah,
I
great
mean,
beer.
when it comes to classic styles, I fucking love Dan.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
have one in
why-
my cooler. It's
And
very
that's
good.
why I had to bring the Doppelbock.
And we're gonna have to
Very
try that
good.
because that's another one.
Dan is also the man. Shout out to Dan if he's listening.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Really,
That-
really good
Usually
guy.
Dan calls in. Dan, where are you, Dan?
By the way, the lowest beer we drank was the first one, which was 6.8. And if I recall,
Oh, Doppelbock time?
the Doppelbock time was like 8 or
The
9.
lowest I brought was 6.5, so
It's not a competition.
That's a special.
but I brought a 12.
Yeah, we have a
Oh,
12%
good Lord.
pumpkin beer.
Now's not the time for beer measuring,
Oh
guys.
boy, who's got a bigger rabbit's foot here?
Well, the casting couch right now is.
Feeling good,
Fuego.
feeling grand. So, John, talk to me about Eleanor because this. Don't give me all the secrets because I want something to be left, up for speculation.
Leave something to the imagination.
Yeah, exactly, and
want
tell
the
me a
full
little bit
review.
about this process because I'm interested. We actually had an opportunity to brew a black IPA when we did our utter fail at a brewing up in Boston, which we won't
Swing
get
and a
into.
miss.
We're not going to do that again.
Nope, sure won't because they don't exist anymore.
Nope,
So
thank goodness.
Besides that, I looked at the recipe. I actually took a picture of the recipe. I've analyzed that recipe. Give me what you guys are doing with this black IPA.
Well, so I think the best way to talk about this would be to say that, the recipe is a very solid, stout kind of base. You've got the dark roasted malts, you've got a good amount of base malt and whatnot. But the really important thing for this is,
It's 8.7.
That's what Kevin was just pointing
I
out.
was just
to me.
mouthing. I'm like,
Kevin's like, oh my God, it's 8.7.
so
Yes.
one thing I've noticed about my career.
Hold on,
in
Dan's
brewing-
checking in. Dan from Long Beach Brewing Company. Dan, if you have the phone number, 516-465-3990, give us a call so you can talk
Call
about
us,
liquid
buddy.
bread. We're about to get into it. Go ahead.
So it's a really just nice base for a dark roasty stout, kind of. But the importance was in my opinion, the utilization of the hops throughout the boil, the whirlpool, and the dry hop. Bringing back some of those, Cascade and Centennial and stuff like that. Like the sea hops.
Classic American.
Exactly.
Yes.
The C's.
That a lot of those just kind of went the way of the buffalo. Just kind of like.
And they pair very
Yeah.
well in a
What's
black IPA.
Exactly.
What's great about too what you guys did with this beer is, and we had spoke about it, using all those dark malts, you're going to add a lot of bitterness.
Yep.
But this beer isn't overly bitter.
No.
It is. You got the aroma.
There's sweetness from the chocolate.
Do you use debittered black malts?
Ooh,
That's what we try and
shit.
Secrets.
Or do you add
honest,
it? Or do you add it?
I'm not. I actually don't remember. To be honest, because no,
Yeah.
because
I will admit
literally
that-
I will admit
today
that
and tomorrow is gonna be me placing the grain order for the rest of the year,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So like that's where my head is. Like, did I cover this recipe and that recipe and so on, so I can keep brewing.
We used to add our malt at Sparge, our dark malt.
Yes, we did that together
Yes,
on
okay.
the Tusk. I still have my homebrew mill in the brewery, so I can just
Right.
mill that like 30 pounds of roasted barley, for the tapping the mash.
And that
you know.
sucks with their little homebrew mill.
Not so
Just so
bad.
you know, man.
No, it's not too bad.
just
sucks.
Hey man, I'm glad to still use it. I can't.
We used to
homebrew
use
anymore.
recycling bins and have to.
We've done dumber
Yeah,
things.
yeah, a lot.
I mean, who hasn't?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
A couple weeks ago, I had
Honesty.
a 4-hour runoff because
Ooh, that's right.
I'm the asshole that has to write a rice lager recipe with almost 50% rice in there. So I mean,
Wow.
really can't be upset. Yeah.
You better put a whole bag of holes in there.
Normally on our system, we don't actually use rice hulls on our mash tun.
At all?
Would that fit? Nope.
Holy moly!
Nope. And actually,
I can't
after
live
because
with
this
that.
was a double batch, so on the
This is all
second
going
batch,
over my head.
I used rice hulls. And it fucked me harder. And this was after I slept for 2 hours and was at the brewery at 3 a.m. for the second batch. So yeah, this was great.
That's one thing I've learned from knowing John and talking to him. He likes to mash in, 3 a.m.?
The earliest I've ever mashed in is 2 a.m. There's only an hour and a
I think
half
that's
of the 24-hour cycle I've not been working at the brewery. From 12 a.m. to 1:30 a.m.
There you go.
is the only hour I've not done brewing work.
Naps on the green. That's what you got to do.
I think
So
that's
when do you
that's
sleep?
impressive.
Yeah.
What is sleep?
What define,
it you speak
define
of?
that sleep?
I mean, I work a
what
lot.
is sleep?
I work a lot, but four is the earliest I'll get up, and probably midnight's the end. We're done at midnight.
I mean, what can I tell you? Growing up, I definitely suffered insomnia, and my mother didn't believe it. She always thought I was trying to get out of school. And then it's like, I've been up for 4 days.
Wow.
So...
Studying?
is real.
Were you studying?
No,
John?
hallucinating.
Yeah,
at that
fair
point.
enough. Yeah. For the best.
But there's also the studies like about certain people being genetically disposed for less sleep.
Right.
If I sleep more than 5.5 hours, I actually can't function.
I don't sleep. I pass out.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
for the
body
best.
just
True.
stops
But-
working.
That
Just
sounds
not.
wonderful. I wish I did that.
If you can function on that little sleep, parenting might be for you, John.
Yes, exactly.
I got 3 nephews. I'm cool.
Those are the kids that aren't your kids. You know what I mean?
You can
Send
give
them
them
home
back
when
at the
you're
end of
done.
the
I
day.
sugar them up and give them back to my sister.
Exactly.
And
Get
that's
outta
all I
here.
gotta say.
Because at the end of the day, I want to crack a beer and play some video games.
You had a pint
Who
of ice
doesn't
cream
need-
and some Twizzlers. Now get out of here. Send them back home.
To be completely honest, if I wasn't here right now, I'd be
Mom
playing
would be
Far
so
Cry
happy.
6. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to
I know
hear.
you guys don't realize what I can do, but I just went to the bathroom and that's what I made.
Hey, look at you.
What in the blue hell?
I'll have one.
I think he's implying that came out of his butt. I don't know.
Wow, wrapped and all.
Hey, they're white chocolate.
Those are holiday. So how
terrible
old
joke
are
from
they?
Jesus.
Really?
Good input. Good
Well, it'll pair well with the black IPA and all the
Yeah.
other dark beers we've
I
been
like it.
drinking tonight.
He's like, I like it.
I want to break down some of this other stuff. We had some earlier. So you have Wonder. Is that Wonderlust?
Wonderkind.
That was the
right.
first one we had.
Yeah. Can
No,
you?
That's a
grab me
Citra
that?
Mosaic single IPA,
Yeah.
and it's 6.8%.
So this is one of the ones that is identifiable on the shelves. This is the one that you distribute.
And
more or less.
at a time, like me and Mark started, we were working at the time with a lot of California ale, being relatively conservative with yeast, choices, and that was a beer that I was working with at the time, and we used the Brux like Sac Trois.
It's basically a reclassified wild yeast. That wasn't really a wild yeast. They produced it commercially.
Yeah.
As such.
They thought it was Brettanomyces at the time, and
so anyway, it was an interesting new yeast to use for an IPA, and it produced a very subtle yet fruity ester beer, and it's pretty straightforward. But every single IPA we brew fills a different niche in the IPA category.
Okay.
So different malts, different percentages of grain, whether it be base malt, specialty malt.
and I've seen people call these
Flake malt.
Brux like IPAs now.
Yes.
That's kind of a name that's come over time, but this beer kind of taught me in the end that yeast-driven esters in an IPA can be very important, if not more important, than your hop additions. You know what I mean? You're paying the same price from your yeast supplier. Why not use a yeast
Yes.
that puts a little more,
impart flavors that you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And pairs well with the hops you used and the malts you used and the dryness or the maltiness, whatever you're going for. You need to have a multi-dimensional beer, and you have to make all those dimensions up with all the ingredients you have at your disposal.
Yeah, use everything to its fullest.
Right.
It's
And then
a huge thing.
you guys cracked the double IPA.
Yeah,
this is
so
the bind, and this actually in like you said, the separation of what you're using in regards to hops or the yeast really is different. It's so different. Give us a little breakdown about that.
Break it down.
In terms of the Wonderkind,
No,
Yeah,
the
Bind
Divine.
uh,
It's basically an 8.5% West Coast style double
Look, it's
IPA.
well,
Tiny.
that's one
Where
thing.
I
That's
just
one,
heard West Coast IPA style.
that's one thing
West
that took
Coast
me a long
double
time to
IPA.
kind of work on.
Yeah.
This
We went into with a very New England approach. As soon as we cracked the Bind Divine, John tried it and cheersed me immediately.
People like different beers. So
He seemed to show.
I like West Coast style. I
so
like good piney,
I miss
dank.
it.
we only have a few of them. So Gold Coast is our
Yep.
quintessential West Coast style double IPA. We actually brewed that beer for the Pride of Brooklyn. We won the competition. Mary Izette and Chris Kuzme were the judges.
Love those.
I still have their score sheets above my
Framed-
kegerator at
framed
home.
above
They're
the
like, they're.
And we got a 97. It was the most epic day ever. Ben was in the bathroom. I said, Ben, we won.
No, I was outside smoking a cigarette.
Whatever it might have been. Don't want to promote it on the radio.
Taking his shit in the
Too late.
backyard.
And so
Smoking a cigarette.
that was a big day. It was basically a stamp of approval that these certified Cicerone beer judges who have now went on, Mary Zett is in Draft
Fifth
Magazine.
Hammer.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mary Zett, Chris Kuzme, Fifth Hammer. And we actually spoke at a homebrew event in Brooklyn at Muggs Ale's house,
Yeah.
which does not exist anymore.
No,
And Kuzme
sad.
was in the homebrew club.
And he's one of the most enthusiastic, awesome people
Right.
in the beer world.
And
Yeah,
a great
great.
jazz musician. He plays
Great
saxophone.
sax,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a
And we watched his videos, like learning how to homebrew ourselves. We would look at the 508 Gastro Brewery that he used to
Yes.
manage
over
in
that-
New York City.
it was underneath what the hell was the Italian restaurant? Shit, that's gonna drive me
Carmine's?
crazy. No,
not Bertucci's. You were gonna say Bertucci's?
no.
Home,
in peace.
yeah. I used to
Mark-
go to
Actually,
Olive Garden.
actually,
Olive Garden, yes.
actually,
Free
the
breadsticks.
chef got
Oh, that statement hurts.
It was
Yeah.
kind of like a keg and lantern, where
Yeah.
Dumbest
keg-
thing I could possibly
But Mark,
Yes.
Mark introduced me to these people, and also through working through SKI, he knew who
Barilla-
these people
Barillas,
were.
and honestly, like he's went on
Mario
to do
Barilla
great.
got,
Oh, Barilla.
but the name
Not
of
like
the place.
pasta company.
It was he actually got in a lot of trouble. The chef.
Oh, boy.
And but downstairs, that's where Kuzmi was brewing on these little
In a basement.
with the little 1 barrel fucking
Yeah.
fermenters.
Plastic fermenter.
Yeah, man.
Which he now uses, I guess, to make sours and funky things. I mean, he's one of the most inspiring
Please,
people I've ever met.
please, they got a photo, and that's all I know.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
we have
Two?
two. Yeah.
He's got a
Yeah.
clean and a sour.
But it's
Son of
it's
a
a small
bitch.
world, and like honestly, to run into people like everybody in this industry, it's a great place to work, and you learn from everybody. And
yeah.
there's no monopoly on creativity, as they say.
Yep.
Well, it's one of the things I love about being here tonight is that I met Mark and Ben at a tasting event at some place in Glen Cove when I was actually doing sales for Oyster Bay.
Yeah.
So here I am. I think I'm a month in, and they sent me to this event with a jockey box and kegs by
I remember
myself,
that. I
and the
remember
thing was leaking
the-
all over the
at the
place. And I'm
mansion?
yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
mansion.
I hope nobody that's working here is seeing the puddle that is on the ground of the jockey box that I was just given. And at the time, now you give me a jockey box, I'm gonna find 15 different ways to clean it, thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, what?
How many
do-
gaskets were missing on
Oh,
that thing?
I couldn't even tell you.
All of them.
And the worst part is, I can't even complain about.
It was steel on steel.
I can't even complain about the brew crew from Oyster Bay at the time because Mike and Frank didn't give me the jockey box. That was freaking Manhattan beer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, no.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. I don't have that. I don't have that sounder.
Why don't you have a sad trombone?
I don't.
He has a chicken though. He's a rooster.
Yeah. What?
Play it. That's a siren.
I was like,
Call the cops. Call the cops. There's a broken jockey box.
Oh shit! It's the cops.
I'm out.
I have all that all day.
There you go, all day.
So sour.
Yeah, for sure.
No. Maybe the milkshake first.
No, this is
There you go.
dessert. What are you talking about?
That's a good point.
Nice.
You got to cock it first.
Bro,
Was that too much?
What?
Jesus.
So we're in a bar.
Yeah, that's everybody talking afterwards after they get shot.
Hey, so we're in a bar. Anyway, the idea that what you guys are all doing, let's as an overall concept.
Let's reel it in.
No, I'm not.
Being reeled in. It's not being reeled in.
I'm not trying to reel anybody in. I'm just throwing out some dead air.
He does.
Fill the dead air.
Pete does not like sour, so he's crying like a little bitch over here. That this
And
is
this one's very sour.
Oh, and I also
I want to
brought.
rinse that out.
I want to talk. Oh yeah, I want to
Two
talk
sours,
about
two sours.
sour batch because
Okay.
this is like a ongoing thing. You've had
Series.
several iterations of this.
Sure.
and so has other breweries. Not mentioning any names.
Yeah, right.
Who was the first?
Great South Bay.
Wait, what?
Who?
No.
I'll call him out.
Yeah.
I call them
Oh!
Actually, didn't our buddy Paul
That's
Conson
good,
win
motherfucker,
Indie
that.
Craft Fest?
Yeah.
Indie
Yeah.
Cast Fest.
Indie Cast
Cast
Fest.
Fest.
Yeah.
Well, this is
I
one of
saw
the
the description and I'm like, no.
this is one of the first
No,
beers
I love
we
Paul,
ever
but-
made.
Yeah,
No.
this literally was.
I was just glad me didn't
This
win.
was one of the first 10 beers that we've. Oh, well, the Sour Bat Citra. was
Yeah, so
number
this
one.
was one
Yeah.
of the first beers we ever made. It's basically a dry hop kettle sour. So before people started making sour IPAs,
Nobody made sours
Yeah,
on Long
so-
Island at that point.
So
No,
we-
you guys. I saw that as one of the first.
yeah, but we didn't call it a sour IPA because it's basically
Head retention
lactobacillus. We use different, whether it be mixed fermentation or a kettle sour. Over the course of time, we've had to change the way we make it because of increasing capacity and obviously trying to progress the sour style and increase our production of it. But for the most part, it's a very unique dry hop wheat ale where we sour it post fermentation and basically try and infuse different flavors. So basically, we put all different kinds of fruits, all different kinds of hops, and we try and pair the hops with the fruit. So it's a base beer, and we basically put in a mixture of either lactose, hops, and fruit, just hops, or just hops and fruit.
Well,
I just like
I
that
like-
you guys put the pH on the bottom too.
I'd
Yeah.
like to add on to it that we soured pre-fermentation.
Yeah, like the mix.
Pre-fermented.
I was gonna say the mixed
I was
culture.
about to ask.
No, the mix.
About to ask.
You can't sour pros.
No, the mix-
unless you're using
Wild,
you know,
but then that shouldn't be in the can.
I was
But-
very interested about that.
No,
Yeah.
but the mixed cultures are mostly post fermentation. The kettle sours are pre fermentation.
And
So it's a kettle sour. I mean that's
Yeah.
where.
You're gonna get
But we have to do it differently now that we're making it on a larger scale. We actually tried to install some innovative new technology in regards to our 10-barrel system.
Baffles and putting CO2 in there.
things
and
sealing
shipping
off,
it,
things sealing off the
Yep, the vent.
The vent,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that totally didn't work. So we
Especially when you forgot it was in there.
Not to,
and you-
not to mention how long it takes to run 10 barrels of wort between the
Correct.
kettle, the heat exchanger, and then back into the kettle.
Word.
To get it down to 90 degrees. So that was bullshit.
Right.
So now we just send it right into the a sanitized vessel. And,
Yeah.
and we we don't
We
kettle
had-
sour. We fermenter sour.
Yeah, and it was a
Yeah.
learning process over the course of time. Like it's very hard to take these smaller batches and scale them up. So you kind of got to do what you got to do, and whether it's double the amount of work or it's it is what it is. But if you want to make beers like this, there's a risk involved.
Sure.
But what was cool is that, you guys asked us where we got our original system from. It was, and Mark had mentioned it was Urban Family. And I've been following them on Instagram.
Make
I've been
amazing
following their-
sours.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They really do. They really
Amazing.
do. And then, we adapted our approach to sours that way for a while. And then one day I just saw them, post about some beer that they made. It was a sour, like bottled with peaches or something. But they explained their process, and they explained that they also were pumping it directly into the fermenter, back into the kettle, and I was like, that's exactly what we were doing. So, I realized that that's probably a great way to do it. And now I understand why people like Portland Kettle Works sell literally, kettle souring tanks.
Yeah,
Oh,
they,
wow.
have,
You know,
they have
which-
a
which
separate
exists.
vessel. They have a separate vessel. So like usually we sour our beers over the weekend so that we don't lock up our production
It
cycle.
doesn't lock up the kettle.
But-
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But a lot
You know,
of
which is
people
important.
have a separate vessel to sour the beer in. But it's really by any means necessary. I mean, in the beginning, Ben and I were very interested in sour beers, and we tried everything from sour mash to, kettle sours to different temps. to-
Cascade apricot.
Yeah, but basically, Cascade is barrel aged for 9 months, and a lot of the traditional sour breweries do 3 years. They do a 5 year, and then they do a 7 year, and they blend them as a cuvee. So they'll have a lot more of the 3, a lot less of the 5, and even less of the 7. And they'll use like different percentages of those years to make up a very acidic sour beer.
Because one of those blends is your body, one is the sour, one is the ABV.
Right.
Yeah, you're getting the acidity from the 5 years.
Exactly. Now, what is the turn time for you on a kettle sour, or on a sour, I should say?
3 weeks.
I'm talking about getting to your pH.
pH, 2 days.
16 hours.
Yeah,
Oh shit!
Nice.
All right there.
What's your
Stop.
pH? What's your final
Stop.
pH?
Flexing your sour penis.
So I like it. It's the rabbit foot.
It's a
all right?
sour
it's
rabbit foot.
Rabbit foot.
Who's
Okay.
got the bigger rabbit foot now?
Who's
No,
got the biggest rabbit foot?
3.2, 3.3, 3.2.
So Chris likes in the 3.3s. I like around 3.16.
Yeah.
3.16, so specific. You're not going to print that on the label.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't print pHs on the label.
Fair enough.
Well, they do.
Because I don't do the label.
They do.
John 316.
No, but you got to
just whipped
realize
your ass.
that as you dry hop and add fruit and other things,
Wait,
the
just give me a new
pH
name for a
actually
beer.
comes up.
Sure.
Yeah.
As you
Use
dry
it.
hop,
Please
like
use
hops being acidic, you'd think that they would add
Why?
more to the pH. Hops actually bring up the
Yep.
pH
Yep.
of a sour.
Now, on this one specifically, I don't get overly pineapple. What was the idea
See,
here?
but I get it in the nose.
Do you?
I mean, truly get it right in the nose.
Well,
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
they're all subtle flavors, so
Right.
like the acidity comes through, and then all the hops, the fruit, and either the lactose or not, kind of enhance the beer. But it's nothing that's gonna blow your taste buds out. Like
Yeah, we're not making a 450 North.
we want something that's
I will
drinkable.
blow your head off.
They're not.
or explode on your shelf.
Yes.
I would-
Kill you with
That's
shrapnel.
never
I would
happened.
say novelty beers. Novelty beers will blow your mouth out, but you can only have 1 or 2 of them.
Right.
We
It's
want
so
to
thick.
make beers that
So-
people can approach, and maybe they buy a 4-pack of each, and then they come back to this one and they have 2, or each night they might select a different one. So
And what I like about this, it does not cave your head in.
No, it's
Like-
not overly.
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
four
suck
and a
your-
half,
I'll be-
4.5%.
I'll be honest though, we added the same amount of fruit as we do on our tangerine and our blueberry. There are certain fruits that just come through more,
Right.
pound per gallon.
But it
You
has
know,
to be.
and-
It has to be
and-
blended right.
And you
And
guys are
pineapple's a
using
fruit.
you guys are using puree, obviously.
Yeah, Oregon fruit.
Oregon fruit,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Pre-pasteurized.
As everybody fucking does.
Yeah, exactly.
Aseptic.
They
Friggin'.
pay out the ass. It tastes great though.
Yes, it does.
But
Yeah, it's the shipping that kills you. That's. what
But
it
you
is.
can age beers on like natural fruit, but when it comes down to it, the risk factor is there.
Oh.
Unless you're using a Fodry or a folder, you really should in stainless use pre-pasteurized ingredients. So that
What's the difference between aging the beer in wood versus stainless?
well, you get a whole nother dynamic. I mean, when it comes down to it, in a folder or Fodry, you have to literally age it for at least 3 months.
and
to be
also,
able-
also like with wood, the
It holds bugs.
The micro, it holds
Right, you
bugs,
have
and the
different
micro oxidation levels feed into things like Brettanomyces and
we've done beers like that.
and whatever the pedio is.
Pediococcus.
The coccus. But
Cactus,
That's what we call it. The pediococcus.
also known as the rabbit foot.
but there,
But that's the best kind of bacteria you can get.
Is the
the
cockus.
coccus.
The coccus.
But there are certain
That's what she said.
bacteria that benefit better from, in a wood environment with the micro,
Sure.
Okay.
ingress of oxygen, that I hope to work with one day. I hope that we
We'll
develop
get there.
our
get
barrel
there.
program.
But the
I think
thing
we're
is-
going to do it.
The thing is like at the most part, we want to provide these sours on the shelf for people to drink on a daily basis, and it's not a lambic. It's not traditional, lambic sour. So we're providing this quick alternative to these aged beers that they have a pipeline of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. So when we get to that point and we're able to put away beers for that long of a period, we'll have these dynamic, exceptional sours that'll blow your mind. But in the meantime, we're gonna have these kettle sours that are different and changing, and Chicks dig them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Now, right there.
And the little Bruin series.
Yeah, and
coming up.
we have an old Bruin, which is kind
The
of like
sour brown
brown,
series.
but it's also kind of a quick American version
it's
of a
delicious.
traditional style. So
Yeah, I like
we're
that.
trying to
Thank you.
take these traditional styles and bring them to the shelf for the daily consumer.
So, question: nothing barrel aged yet.
We've done several different barrel aged beers.
We
like
have a lot
did-
of barrel racks.
I remember seeing those. That's why I'm asking.
Well, I think
I don't have a lot of barrels.
I don't even have a gun, let alone many guns to necessitate. a
Listen,
gun
when you're
rack.
running out of beer, you got the beer that
Yeah.
you make's gotta fucking go in the kegs. You know what I mean?
well,
Well, we're thinking future now.
Well, no, the future.
We'll get-
No, the future will definitely have a barrel program. Obviously, through whatever we've dealt with and had to overcome in the past couple of years has been very difficult.
Sure.
So that is in the plan. We know we've made several different barrel aged beers. It's just the ability to put away beer for an extended period of time. With me and Ben being the only.
Yes. It's,
like-
it's tough to put out 10 barrels, like a whole batch of beer. Put
And just say, yeah, maybe next year.
yeah, you know, and not
But
see,
we'll get-
and not
we'll
see
get
the
there. We'll
return
get
on
there.
it.
Yeah.
And we'll get there, but honestly, we had a lot of barrels that we had to empty through the pandemic, and they came out great.
And we were fortunate that we were canning during that
We emptied
time.
them into bottles and sold them.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
We actually made a profit on
Yeah.
something.
We actually made money on that.
we had to do it. So, but
It was probably my highest rated beer.
well, the sour
Cabernet Little Brew.
no, the sour psychedelic number 1 was a 12-month aged sour double IPA with Brett C in Cabernet wine barrels. So
Wow.
that was ridiculous, and people loved it. But we had to, we can do these beers. It's
Aged
just,
on rabbit foot.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest,
couple rabbit foots in there.
the whole series started because that first one didn't fully ferment. So I put it into a barrel and then just
said,
added some Brett.
I'm fucking
you know,
you're letting
and
that go
then-
now.
Yeah.
So-
you know.
Brewer's
as a
Hail
ha-
Mary.
But it became
I've done it.
It became
No,
our
I've
highest
had-
rated beer.
I've had a Dubco beer that was at the Croxy's event, I believe, and it was a Sonar. And that barely
Brett
Second,
Saison,
it's
right?
a secondary fermentation in Chardonnay barrels
was
with
amazing.
Brett C, and
Oh, I love
it
Soma.
is one of my favorite beers.
that was great. So
Brett
it's
C is
similar.
one of my favorite.
Very similar.
Yeah.
You guys did a release of Sonar with Billy from Nightmare, who did a collab with you at the same time. I remember getting
because
both.
we did the Science of Selling Nightmares was both the first and second were sour saisons.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get the next one, in, because different Ghostbuster on each label, but it's
Yeah.
a whole
I
thing.
love it.
Is it Igor?
Well, no,
Venkman?
it started with
Venkman.
Spengler,
Oh, yeah.
and then it went to Stance.
Stance, that's right.
So yeah,
Makes perfect sense.
yeah.
A bunch of people are checking in on Instagram. I mean, I've kind of been pretty lazy on that.
You have.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Long Beach, Dan's been in and around
Dan,
and
you
watching.
never called Dan.
Yeah, my buddy Nick from
Dan's the man.
from Queens is checking in. Probably Brian from Barnshed saying, "Hey, what's up, guys?"
And
Hey,
you
what's
know
up,
what?
Brian?
Not for nothing, but I think we should be hearing something any day with Dan
Oh.
over at Long Beach.
Oh, nice.
But you remember last time we talked to him?
Yeah.
What's the worst
He was like, they were
I
going to
saw
be
your
talking with
story
the town.
recently. I was hoping,
That's I was too.
things are moving right along. I think.
So we already all drank the Tribal Cow, but I want to go back to that for a second because I have something for Steve.
It's bad.
Oh,
I know what it is.
holy cow!
No, I know what it is.
Is this a new dildo?
Well, it's a
Actually,
furry one
Hopefully.
called the rabbit's foot. Called the rabbit's foot.
It's got its own remote control.
I was gonna say it's one of the remote control things. from your
Bluetooth
phone.
enabled.
voice activated.
So I'm gonna now tell you a little story about
Here's
Tribal
a
Cow.
story.
All right.
Send Steve to the netherworld.
So a week after Steve
Is it
came
a glass
down and we
dildo?
brewed together. Now, also, Steve was the first brewer I ever met. All right.
Ever.
No, seriously though, he was the first brewer I ever met.
jerk off,
He
Debbie.
came into a little bar that I used to work at.
Hey, look at that!
That's cool, bro.
Very cool.
So now, if you look at the on the bag is
Whoa, the bag?
on the bag that I just handed you. Let's not get too out of is the name. I'm awful. It's my friend Kim, my neighbor, who does these custom tumblers and whatnot.
That's fucking cool looking.
and
And actually, it is
Nope.
because I have to read it because I
man,
can't
Steve
see.
got to put his glasses
Yep.
on.
BrightFuturesDesigns.com.
There you go.
And you can find her on Instagram.
And
So.
I don't
Big
know
shout out
if
to
you
Bright
guys can
Futures.
see that, but that is
That's pretty fucking cool.
You have
It's like getting your car wrapped, but you're getting your tumbler wrapped.
camera 2 right
Very
there.
nice.
And so no, I need to shout out to both her and to my assistant brewer Jimmy, who actually
go.
does our labels.
Yes.
He was a graphic designer originally before he came to work in the back with us. The kid is
Look at
just
that thing.
Nice. Between the work she does and the work he does in the labels, surrounded by a lot of talented people. So
I'm going to say that is definitely something you're going to be bringing to Blue Point Cast Fest
Oh.
and having everyone fill up and sipping every beer with a straw.
We'll be there.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It fucking came out really nice.
I love a
Look
cup.
at that.
Nice.
Coffee every morning.
so
Love it.
Thank you so much.
my absolute
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
So
Oh,
Steve comes in, we brew together, and a week later, the
There you
day
go.
that was officially posted about Tribal Cal, not that his, picture of the mash tun manway.
Hold on. I got to put it up. There you go. Go ahead. Keep going.
Not that his picture of the mash tun manway was enough to get people blowing up his phone, Dubco's everything, my phone. But so now a week later, I had stalled fermentation.
yeah.
Oh, what?
He got scared.
And because now the day I'm now doing what I have to do, jumpstart fermentation to get the beer done and ready to be packaged, is the day that it's posted. So now I'm seeing the like count on the post just go up and up, and my anxiety is going up and up, and I'm thinking, all right, this is supposed to be bringing
anticipation.
back this favorite barrage beer, and everybody's gonna hate me. Lo and behold, I prayed to Nkasi, the Egyptian god of beer, and then everything worked out for the best, and here we are.
Yes.
But
And many people were very, 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 very happy.
as was I.
But I will. If anyone that's listening, no, Barrage is not open. They are not going to be open.
Oh yeah, weren't you getting new likes on Instagram?
We are. Yes, bro. You know how many people were liking Barrage? That is now. It says closed permanently. No, we are not open. We are not going to open. We're never going to reopen.
But
Garage
unless
pop-ups.
But he lives
And,
on through the other breweries.
yes,
Yes.
I do.
And
Garage
honestly,
pop-ups. Guys.
I live on through my friends.
yes,
My brewery
That's beautiful.
friends. We are actually going to be in 2 weeks. I will be brewing a salt and fudgery
you fucking whore.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just a whore.
San City,
at,
right?
at San City South.
Oh my
Right.
god.
delicious.
And then, of course, everybody likes to jump on the bandwagon.
Uh-huh.
So my boy Larry.
Larry from
Yeah.
Spotify.
Larry.
Oh, please tell me it's Collaborator.
No.
Oh,
No. We actually spoke about that, though.
I'd love that
we
fucking
spoke
beer.
We spoke about doing another Bach, but he's like, well, you want to do something fucking big? You want to do like 30 barrels like GSB, like yada, 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 yada? So maybe we do yada.
double yada yada yada.
We're brewing Tusk in
Yeah,
a month.
There you go.
soon.
I think Steve should come back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah.
I would like to.
I'm really
Just
happy
to
about
hang
this
out
because
and-
that was delicious. So
Yeah, it was
I
good.
need more
It
of
was
that
good.
in and around my face hole.
You don't.
that whole specific.
That held up
That whole
great.
specifically, yes.
No other
That
hole.
held up really, really
No, that
good.
was
And that's-
I wish I had a 4-pack.
The head
in my
retention
fridge.
on
That's
it,
why
the
I
legs
try
on
to
it.
hold on and stuff.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
That held up and aged really well.
And
You know-
we got some. Everybody's walking in the brewery asking for dark beers, so we're trying to start. We have a pastry pushers series. It's called, and we
I'm sorry, I love that name.
yeah. So
The pastry push.
We pushing the pastry.
yeah, so it's basically we did a s'mores beer with over like $1,000 worth of marshmallow
Fluff.
ingredients. we got
Oh, you too?
Which
Remember we talked about the fluff.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
We
because
talked-
I gotta wear jeans the rest of the week to
You
make
did the
smuggling
sweet
yams again,
potato
yeah.
fluff beer,
Yeah.
and then I asked
doesn't
you
love being
about it.
fluffed?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's called I wear shorts until like December, and marshmallow fluff in an Italian man like
Again,
not
this was,
pleasant.
again, this was the time that John kind of helped me, and I appreciate every time that I reach out to him that he really does give me great insight, and every time that I've ever asked him a question about
John
brewing,
doesn't like compliments.
When you need fluff-
No, it's called you
when
help
you
your
need
friends.
fluff-
You help
when
your
you need
friends.
fluff advice, you go to Jen.
Love it.
But honestly,
professional fluffer.
I walked right into it.
when you need a little
The
fluff.
door was wide open for
There
these
we go.
comments.
no, there should have been gunshots right there.
Anybody have eyes on the rails, or are we just like completely?
Honestly,
We've been off the rails for a while, brother.
Yeah.
That's the way the show goes.
these beers are uncharted territory. So like as much feedback as you can get from people in the industry, you take what they
My
say
man right
with
here.
a grain of salt, and then you try your best to make it work. I mean, Ben was telling me he can't get the fluff in, so I push him aside, and I just start
Jamming that fast right up.
And he got the last scoop of fluff in right before the whirlpool. I
Right,
mean, like
exactly.
it couldn't
You
have
gotta do
been
it.
like
But that's where the fun comes in. We only do these brews like once a year, and like if you're in the mix of like brewing the same beers that you're just trying to produce for the brewery, like the one beer that you're gonna make a year that's like insane for cans and draft, like. It's a lot of fun for us, and you almost break the system every time.
Yeah.
But that's what we live for. It's like that one day where we can break out of the norm, make a special beer that people really will get a kick out of, and then we try and reproduce it for the following year, or we make something different and tailor it a little bit. But that's where we get the kick out of the day to day. You get out of the norm, and you just kind of just go for the gold.
Speaking of breaking out of the norm, so are you guys going to be at Blue Point Cast Festival?
Yes, sir.
I just filled a cask.
Fucking course you are.
I just filled one of our casks today.
So what do you? What's the plan? Don't give me all the secrets. Give
We
me
have two
spoiler.
casks planned.
One's a 10-gallon, one's a 5.
We're gonna
Okay.
do a 10-gallon cask of our Turning Tides IPA.
Turning Tides.
double
IPA.
double dry hop.
I've yet to decide what I'm gonna do with that, but I had a little fun today with our
Blueberry mosaic.
blueberry sour.
Yes.
I went with a cobbler approach. We did
Blueberry cobbler.
Always be cobbling.
I did
I was
some,
just gonna say, who does a cut?
I did some coconut, vanilla, and a little bit of cinnamon. To add on the already, the acidity,
And
the heaviness of the blueberry.
And especially this year, it's in November.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're heading towards the holidays.
ready.
So I wanted
Hot
you to
one.
be drinking a sweet
Pie.
awesome,
Nothing but pie.
Yeah, right at the time of the year that you want it. you know,
Nice.
So
John, you guys are going to be there
Yeah, oh
for
yeah.
sure. What have you prepared?
I am working on the first farmhouse I've ever designed.
Oh,
that
shit.
we've designed together as
Shit
Dubco,
is going down.
and that's all I'm
Fucking
gonna
Blue
say.
Point.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
But
I wish I
I'm
had
very-
that reggaeton horn.
I'm very excited.
I don't know. I have a whole other sounder board that was
So-
perfect, but
Right now, to keep the sours going,
yeah.
Yeah, hell
who's
yeah.
got a ball over? Because
Oh,
I'm
that looks
unprepared. I
delicious,
hate to
by the
say.
way.
I'll get it. No,
Ridiculous. I
no,
had
bring it
that a
down.
month
Bring it
ago.
down.
that
So-
looks so good.
I have to
Bring
show
it down,
off
hey
my
now.
one and only trick that I learned as a bartender.
So
It's-
this is.
But look
Yeah.
at the dirtiness on
Yeah,
that.
there's some dirt on there.
It's a dirty
You
girl.
got-
All right,
need
here
that
it is.
sediment.
Ready? Not over the board. Done.
Oh, shit. He did
Done.
that.
So
Going
that's called the
down.
road you're on.
That is correct.
It's a 6.5%.
It's him.
It was a kettle sour.
No, you pour. I'll take the last of it.
a
I'll
kettle,
take the sediment. Go ahead.
a
that
kettle
your wife?
sour that was Quebec fermented
Yes.
in about 3 days at about 100 degrees. To really oh yeah.
There's love going on
If
the couch.
if I'm using Quebec, I'm going full
Kevin's
bore.
wife just told him
Bam,
to
chicka,
Uber
bam,
home.
bam.
She's watching.
you
so-
came in one car, right? So you came in one car?
No, I'm Ubering home.
Oh boy. All right, fair enough.
But so this was aged in rye whiskey barrels sourced from Long Island Spirits for about 9 months.
So then, yes,
And
Kevin, you
then-
are taking an Uber home.
And then
yes, I'm taking
it was
Uber home.
conditioned
I hope
on
so.
Amateur hour over here.
tangerine,
Yep.
pineapple, and Amarena cherries.
all the
Oh my
goods.
God.
So that the whole point of this is to make a whiskey sour as a beer.
Balls. I'm gonna have to touch
Sounds
that.
incredible.
I got to finish my sour though first. Blue Point Cast Festival.
Yep.
I want to just sit on that for a minute. What is the significance for you guys for that festival? What has really been the approach for what you guys are brewing, what you guys are doing?
For me,
I have-
Really not.
John, take it away.
Take
it away, John.
so for
Go
me,
ahead.
it's always been taking something a little normal and then maybe twisting it on its head. But at the end of
Right.
the day, it's really just
Sour.
about I'm gonna brew something that I hope people are gonna just enjoy the crap out of. But more importantly, you're gonna get to see people like Ben and back in the day when Barrage was open and Steve, like the brewers you don't get to see very much,
Because
very often.
because you're
Because we're
all
all too busy working.
Yes.
And we
You know?
keep in touch throughout, the day, the week, through the time, and it's nice to be able to finally see each other and,
Yeah, because like people always ask, like, isn't this brewery or that brewery your competition? And I think I speak for
Competition.
all of us. It's the macro breweries.
Yes.
That's who we're all working against.
Now here's this is what I've always not had a problem with, but so from day one when Blue Point started doing their Cast Fest, which I remember was in the back of Old River.
Love that place, by the way.
And yes,
Shout
I
out to
miss
Pete
it.
Cotter.
yes, Mr. Cotter,
Pete Cotter, I'll tell you, hell yeah.
I miss throwing up at the Blue Point train station.
He's been,
Mr. Bruford.
he's been by the tasting room a few times.
So-
he's a good guy.
Is a bar.
So
Probably in Maui right now.
we,
Yeah, why not?
I would be.
we
For
would,
millions of dollars, yes, you would. Thanks, Annie.
we would do this festival, and then all of a sudden, we all know they sold to InBev, and then a whole bunch of brewers got real uppity and said, "Fuck these guys! We're doing our own little Cast Festival. They're big business. Fuck you, fuck your mother, fuck everything." And
The Brewers
Mine
Collective,
specifically, or-
Indie
Well,
Cast
that's a
Fest.
great
Mothers in
idea,
general.
and I'm
And-
glad
oh.
that it happened.
and
we want.
well, no, there was before that festival. There was another one that was at the old
Hoptron.
Hoptron.
Yes.
And
Rest in peace. Amazing
yeah,
place.
man, that was a
Yeah,
great
those
place.
girls
One of my
those
favorite
John,
girls-
don't you dare pour a little bit out for them.
I was pouring that into my mouth.
I
Pour it in.
missed that place so much. That was
I really
Great
do too.
place. Great place.
But yes, they're owned by InBev, but the people that work there, those are my friends.
Yeah.
I still have a fucking shit ton of friends that work there, and the thing is, they're all willing to. Like I know I did before I closed. I was sending samples to them, and they were testing the samples for me for free, not fucking charging me, for free. You know what? Yeah, they're big business, and yes, they have a tap handle that maybe could have been my tap handle, but at the end of the day, it's the people that actually work for them that are really cool, and I even have more friends now that actually work for them. So for me to do this festival, we're going to be there, and we're going to interview all the brewers there. I just think it's a chance for all the brewers on Long Island to showcase what they can fucking do.
Absolutely.
So,
on,
Steve,
on something
well,
that's a
It's
cask is a rare
living
thing.
beer. Living beer.
Yeah.
Steve, as the new
Thank
head
you.
brewer for Blue Point Brewing.
Oh, well, yes, since I
what
was.
cask are you?
Yes. Well, we
What
have.
cask are you preparing?
Well,
to
we
see?
got about 14 to 15 those different ones.
40 barrel tanks.
But we were at the last official Cask Fest at their original location, and it was a great time. I mean,
Yeah.
you do have to venture into Patchogue and have some barbecue after the event.
Yes, you
just
do.
to
Oh, yeah.
Wait it out,
Barbecue,
but-
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
barbecue,
yeah.
maybe.
The last year after Cast Fest, that's where we went.
We
for a
hid
moment.
out for 3 hours to sober up, and
But then you go there and they have like a beer selection. You're like,
Yeah,
well, or whiskey. And
No,
you're like,
we just ate barbecue and sobered up.
But I'm interested this year since it's later and it's probably going to be cooler. I'm wondering if they're going to have some big heated tents. That's what I'm wondering.
Maybe.
we'll
It got
see.
cold
Well,
today,
we
I'll tell
shall
you what.
see. We shall see.
Bro, it was 50 something today.
I did not. I
Did they
was
announce
like,
any?
I'm ready, I'm
Because they
ready.
had some
New
really
Yorker.
good music selections
years.
Over the years,
Yeah.
Real Big Fish came and played, and I
Yeah.
would lose
Did
my
they
mind.
really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow, yeah.
A couple of years ago, right before the pandemic, that Cast Fest before that, they had some good. And Real Big Fish went around and did like a brewery tour
Yep.
that day or the day before, and was going around and just peddling their wares, and of course doing their beer thing, and as they do. They're big brewery fans. So for the entire island,
knowing them,
yeah,
I mean, they have a song that's appropriate.
I was
to
just
the
gonna
interview,
say,
so-
absolutely. That's how we start our show
Oh,
almost
what's it
every
called?
day.
Right.
yes, we do.
Derp.
The idea of what they're doing to promote Long Island breweries. Blue Point has sold out in a way, but at the same time given back to their community, their grassroots, where they grew up.
And-
Correct?
and what's very interesting too is, so I'm friendly with both ex-owners,
Yes.
Mark Bruford, Pete Cotter. two different dudes, like 180 different. One is all about the brewery. The other one is I hate that brewery so much, and it is amazing. And one I will run into, and he's playing harmonica in a band in a bar.
Are we talking about Pete?
Yeah, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Playing in a band, playing harmonica in like South Shore,
He's the man.
Great South bar.
Yeah.
Hanging out, and we're drinking fucking beers, and then the other one is like, I don't know, we're doing this wonderful thing with all the beer and everything. It's gonna be and it's just so amazing how it started out.
Yeah.
Where these guys and
Do they not speak anymore? I take it.
I don't know, and I don't want to.
It doesn't matter when you're a millionaire. Who cares
Well,
who you're inviting to your Christmas
money's
party?
not the
We don't.
motive. Money's not the motive.
The thing is, we
It
don't
isn't.
know. We don't
Money's
know.
Money's nice.
I mean,
but
they-
it's not the motive. You're right.
I will say
the
though,
amount of money that was spent, we don't know what was theirs.
right.
I mean,
right,
they
so-
had obviously bills. They had debt.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they tried to go bigger and bigger and bigger.
All right.
So we don't know what they got. You know what? Their name is still alive.
They did
They're-
put
they're-
Long Island on the map.
They did.
and I
They
will say to
truly
this
did.
point
Truly,
that
truly.
Pete Cotter is still great friends with Jim McCune.
Yes.
who did
Yeah.
our labels, and he has brought him through before, and it was really important for me and Mark to see somebody like Pete Cotter come by the brewery.
Great
Whether or
guy.
not he was just because
Yep.
friends with Jim McCune or not. But he came by, saw what we were doing,
And
and
told the story of how they started. And it was
Yeah,
very
man.
similar, but at the end of the day, life is tough. And they got to a point where
Yes.
there was a pivotal choice to make. And they were in many different states. And when you get that big, it becomes a point where you decide one way or another. But at the
gotta
same
hand it
time,
off.
all in or all out.
yeah,
But
exactly.
if someone wants to write you a huge fucking check and be like, you could
I'll take it.
I remember.
you could walk away. You could walk away with
I remember going to Mr. Fadley's in Patchogue. A whole bunch of us would hang out, and that was where I first really drank like craft beer and had these old brass taps that had fruit flies around them, but they were pouring like Sam Smiths and shit
Oh,
like
wow.
that. And
Samuel Smith is good beer,
Yeah.
by the
Bro.
way.
Oh, yeah.
Their oatmeal,
Samuel.
their
Oatmeal-
oatmeal
oatmeal
stout
stuff's
is
incredible.
one of the best oatmeal stouts of all time.
Hands down.
Come on,
Ridiculous.
please.
Hands down.
Tatty Porter, also Jerry Garcia's favorite beer. Worth mentioning.
Cherry Garcia, man.
so they would hang out there, and they would be like, we should open a fucking brewery.
yeah.
And we all were just drunks, young drunks,
Hell yeah.
but they actually turned around and
Yeah,
said,
they
they
did.
did
They
it.
did it.
They fucking did
How
it.
happy can you possibly be for those guys? I mean, Pete Cotter.
Of course.
We work with JT's Farmhouse, right? And every time,
Oh
every
my
now and
God.
again, that
place
place
is so great.
It's amazing. And every time I'll every now and again check in with Pete, like, hey Pete, how's it going? He's like, oh geez, I'm in the Maldives, and I'm like, oh, sorry to bother you.
Yeah.
My bad.
But
Must be nice.
Sorry, guy.
But he's also
As you were.
He's also told us stories about how they put together a brew house with brick
Yes,
by brick.
yes.
Yes.
That
That they've got from Germany.
right.
And cool to hear the story behind that.
So,
Absolutely.
it's very telling that like these guys didn't. A painter doesn't paint because he thinks he's gonna get rich.
Right.
Yes.
it doesn't just
We're not
fall.
all-
And
a
it doesn't
poet-
fall into their lap.
A
either.
poet doesn't write because he thinks he's going to get rich.
John?
You do your job.
You are a poet.
You'd be doing it
I've read
whether
it.
you're making money or not.
Yep.
So
Right.
like to say like, oh, I want to brew beer. If you're not already brewing beer, like what's the issue? Like you gotta love what you do it on a daily basis, whether you're making money or not. And if your
And-
profession comes of it, it
It's-
comes of it.
And what I'm doing to all these brewers that have decided to brew my own beers is showing them how you don't make money because of the
I'm drinking
Or-
all of
no, because the expense of brewing those fucking beers.
Yes.
Or he fucks with you on brew day.
Oh,
As I'm
he-
standing
he
on the brew
does.
deck, he's like, "So you did the rye malt?" I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Because he was just wandering around the brewery looking at bags of malt, and now I'm pulling up my phone to what he texted me and trying to be like,
I'm like,
"Whoa,
You did the right.
you
malt
did write a
edition.
rye malt on there."
You did the right malt edition, right? And he's like,
Or he pokes you in the ass.
Well, for the same reason.
The rabbit foot.
the rabbit foot. It's the rabbit foot, bro.
You touch my ass.
Another throwback. Come on, call it back.
It's the rabbit foot. Not for nothing.
What have we learned tonight, guys?
Not for nothing. There needs to be a collaboration between this in here called
Yes.
the Rabbit Foot.
Yes.
You do realize that. You do realize
I mean,
But it's gonna have to have rhyme on
Sorry.
it.
David.
I'm so sorry to everybody who's listening.
It, everybody in here, every person in this room needs to either go to Dubco or Garvies, and
All
this
right.
beer needs to be made.
2022.
John's in on it. John's in on it.
2022.
2022 is
Rabbit's
Foot.
foot goose. Rabbit's foot goose.
There will be an actual rabbit foot inside.
Oh! No, we just throw a whole rabbit in there.
Rabbit's
It's all
food
the
goose.
I heard circumcisions with a brand new adjunct.
Oh.
Oh my
Well,
god.
I took it that far.
excuse me.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Oh my lord.
That escalated very quickly.
Yes, and with that said,
It's
I
got
want to give you
cacao
guys.
nibs and foreskin.
And now we're talking.
Cacao nibs and foreskin.
Cow nibs and foreskins. Yes.
Maybe it's time to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And with that said, we want to give you guys an opportunity to promote everything about the brewery. Mark, we'll start with you. Give us the big plug. Give us everything that people need to know, how to get in touch with you, how to find the beer, how to get through everything that they need to know for Garvies.
So you can go to our website, garviespointbrewery.com. We have Instagram, Garvies Point Brewery. We're literally making beers every other week.
Every day.
Every
day.
releasing every other week. So
There you go.
if you come down to the brewery, you're not going to see the same beers on tap that you saw last week. We have 3 to 4 different beers being canned every other week. So you can find us on shelves, whether it be your local beverage store, at our tasting room. And we're expanding into a brand new brewery restaurant next year in 2022 in the spring.
Yeah.
Right in Garvies Point. It's going to be one of the premier locations on Long Island. Where
Now your family is going to be running the restaurant part?
yeah, so my
Awesome.
my
And
family
the food
does
is good.
yeah catering hall.
Food is
Catering
real
hall restaurant
good.
in Bayville called the Crescent Beach Club. We're gonna basically
Okay.
Now, for
just-
nothing, I was just there for a wedding.
Oh, you were.
I was so fucking impressed.
Good.
I'm not even joking.
It's the only place you get married on the beach on Long
Yes.
Island.
Woo!
And
Yes.
Like
they plant
St. Lucia.
they plant palm trees in the
Yes.
in the summer.
Yes, they do,
in New
bro.
York. But they're looking to diversify and kind of have a non-seasonal location, and their food is amazing. Their staff is great. They develop great menus and cocktail menus. So they're in collaboration with us. We're gonna run the new restaurant brewery right in Garvies Point.
And if you've come, to terms with the quality of the restaurant that, the Crescent Beach Club provides, which many people are accustomed to,
and not only
that's
that,
what
but
you could expect from the brewery.
Garvies Point
The
Brewery
food
and
was
restaurant.
fantastic, but now that you have beer that you can actually pair with shit, it's,
Right, it's gonna be
Yes,
amazing.
That's awesome.
And I'm having a lot of fun, talking with the manager there, and and
Now-
planning
We just
beer.
did an Oktoberfest.
Now
on
your
Sunday,
your
though.
your family is big fishermen.
Yep. Oh, my parents having their boats right across from Garvies Point. They were the ones that kind of always looked at our location and said that was the place that you should
You should
Start
have
the
boat
brewery.
slips.
But no, honestly, it's gonna be amazing. If you come down, you can get just general tasting room food. You can go into the restaurant. You can go into the beer garden. We're gonna have a raw bar outside.
Jesus
We're
Christ,
gonna
I'm in.
Yeah, the
we're-
food that's gonna be
private event space. There's a 20-foot window into the brewing space. So every day when Ben and I are making beers, you can come in, have a beer, eat.
Watch them touch their rabbit foot.
Yep.
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 We're gonna be
No,
so-
finally you can't. I'll actually be
No
in my
one's
own
touching the
space.
rabbit foot at the brewery, all right? The
No
rabbit foot
touching
are
rabbit
off
foot.
limits.
This is our place of
What
business.
I do in the bathroom is none of your business.
Exactly. The rabbit
Damn
foot is touched
right.
only at the Wort and in the bathroom.
Is a stall dedicated to the word with a little rabbit's foot hanging on
it's
top of
gonna
the
be
stall.
amazing. So you guys got to come down for the spring 2022 launch
show.
of the Garvies Point Brewery expansion. Check out the new facility, drink some of the new beers, and we're here to stay.
I'm fucking so psyched for that.
I'm
I
pumped.
really am.
It really is.
I mean, you guys should have been a destination. Now it's really going to be a fucking destination.
agree.
Yeah.
And then,
Yes.
as people come for food, and then they drink the beer, we've been
This
missing
new
this the whole time.
location will add that.
It'll-
We'll add that.
Without
People
doubt.
are always like, it's out of the way, and it is for a lot of Long Island. But I mean, it's such a destination. People drive to Treehouse. People drive to all these places.
Where the fuck you
Warwick.
going? 3
Where
hours,
you
you got
going? You
30
got
minutes.
places right
Yeah,
here.
30 minutes.
And I always Mark always says that it's like the end of the earth to some people, and I always say if you reach the ice wall, you went a little too far. But right there.
Hey, flat Earth boy.
Right, yeah.
Easy, Kyrie Irving.
That was more of a Game of Thrones reference, but yeah.
We'll get into that. Get vaccinated and play fucking basketball, please.
Ooh, you
Just
went
play
there.
basketball.
You fucking went there.
Well, I'm just saying. He's getting
Nets.
paid millions
Why
of
not?
dollars.
What have I done?
Just get it
He,
done.
he actually is.
I wish I played basketball. I would
made money.
have been playing tomorrow.
Sure.
Guys, I want to really thank John. Give me the big plug for Dubco.
Yeah.
Well, one of the great things I could talk about is that as of this week, we're going distribution, and you'll be able to find us across the island much more easily. We'll be with Claire Rose, and
And
Congrats.
what about, there's something going on up in Warwick?
my head's in the kettle. I don't know what goes on outside.
Fair enough.
Same here.
Well,
So-
as,
Chris is there a lot.
Head in
I
the
see.
kettle.
as
head in the
I've
kettle.
been told, they are opening up a tasting room, a farm. It's a farm, it's a farm.
It's a actual farm.
And they're opening up a tasting room up in
Will the-
Warwick, New York.
No.
And
Is the farm going to have rabbits?
they probably will have rabbits, and we know what
What
happens
for?
with rabbits. You touch their furry little paws. No, and I know these guys are. I know. I'm talking to Chris. He's been fucking killing himself up there, trying to get this tasting room ready. And so then, besides the beer being distributed here on the island, it'll be distributed more so upstate New York,
New
and you'll
York
have
statewide.
another place to go to.
Yes.
Once you leave the city, and you will get that delicious destination
go.
unknown beer.
Ready?
John, anything
We're
else?
going.
Keep on keeping
John,
on.
John,
Yes.
you have something special that you. If I don't know how much you have left of it, but your
Gustavo.
book that you wrote.
Oh, I mean, I did self-publish a book of poetry this year called Thoughts from the Brew Deck.
Yes.
Very cool.
So
Which me and Kevin have also been inspired by.
Yes, we've definitely been inspired by that. We've
Yeah.
talked.
Well,
Right,
thank
Lance,
you.
about
I mean, I got to say, within my local friend, my immediate friends and family, and the industry, the reception of a passion project of that magnitude, the reception has been amazing. And for somebody like myself who does not do well with the limelight, it's been an interesting experience because I did a poetry reading at the brewery back in June, and
Yeah.
I only had like 3 minor anxiety attacks during the day, and I've only had like 15 beers before the event.
That's it.
You know, and then after went and
Pretty
drank
standard.
bourbon
That seems
heavily.
reasonable.
Should have went 16.
No, it was the bourbon after that was unreasonable because I drank like about half a bottle of like Woodford, so you know
Hell yeah.
didn't need that. The next
John,
day was
John
interesting.
enjoys his whiskey.
You sure do.
I do. I do.
From what
Well,
I can
you know,
ascertain.
people don't understand. I don't drink beer at home. It's taking work home.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's taking work home.
That's what the wife
Fair.
always tell you.
Yeah.
You know, so
Don't bring your work back here.
Despite all your trials and tribulations, everything's coming up Fraioli.
Yeah.
Oh,
right? Yeah.
look at that.
somebody reads my hashtags. Thank you.
Oh.
Listen, you print
Oh, he
them out.
reads all of them. Trust me.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yada, yada,
you
yada.
try to put that you try to put that mantra out into the universe and
it's there.
and
Here it
roll
is.
with it. You know,
I love it.
inside the brewery and outside the brewery, I am very, 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 very fortunate to say I have a lot of support.
That's
Let's go.
awesome.
And from ownership down through friends I've had for a year, through friends I've had for 20 years, and so on. So to be able to say that is a blessing.
And
that's
you
it.
make good beer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
And
it's-
he has been around the industry and has done great things and
Continues to do great.
and
things.
answers every question that I've ever asked him. you know,
Remarkable.
how do I,
He
CIP
did say to me early
And nobody
today.
wants to talk to Ben. so-
how do I,
Come on now.
Hey-o.
It's your real friend over
yes,
here.
he does. How do I CIP my brand new 20-barrel fermenter?
There goes 20 years.
John
Right
John
on
is
the
very
table.
proud of his CIP setup.
actually I am.
And his
I-
foam machine.
There's many ways to
He
skin
loves foam in his brewery.
to skin a cat.
Yeah,
Sure is.
There you go.
Hey,
They're
my
not-
car or my apartment may look like a disaster. my brew house and my fermenters, immaculate. And that's how it should be. And and going back to Ivan for a second, what he says, I say the same thing. If I do better, we all do better. And that's the point. Beer is for everybody.
Right.
It's for every walk of life, whatever you refer to yourself at, it's for everybody. It's something we're all supposed to enjoy. So if I can share something with Ben and Mark or Kevin or Steve or whoever, and they can do better, and vice versa, because I ask for opinions on shit all the time, then we all do better.
That's it.
Because at the end of the day, it's the big machines that keep on spinning, that somebody's just walking in front of a computer and hitting a button 3 hours after it started. That's what I love about the industry, and it goes the same thing for look at Patchogue, the revival of Patchogue. All right, look at the restaurants, the bars, breweries, whatever. People want to know the person making what they're consuming.
Right.
And it's an honor and a pleasure to be known for that. And I think I can say that for
And
all
be
of us in this
associated
room.
with the society that Long Island has
Exactly,
grown.
because it's
And
that small.
and the podcasts that have us on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like
When it really comes down to it, like the people that are watching tonight, they can get a little tidbit, and they're probably making just as amazing beers in their comfort of their own home.
Yeah.
And the little tidbit
With
of
Beer Maker.
There's that plug.
But
But like
Rosie's
Fully
draft
automated.
system.
and Rosie's Drip.
So
I've referred Rosie's to a lot of customers, so
Fuck
Me
yeah.
too.
they're very good.
be part of this community.
Nick
Yeah.
is
It's
awesome.
an honor.
Right.
It's an
I
honor.
agree, I
It's an
agree.
absolute honor. And
I feel super cool.
be part of the big machine, but that big machine is delivered to the small people, the people that really enjoy this industry, the people that really enjoy this community that we've set up here on Long Island. It's something that's bigger than any one of us,
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
and that's big.
I mean,
that's tremendous.
I just want to talk about one thing that I love about the tasting room at Dubco real quick. So from when I was a bar stool to now, to then assistant brewer, to then now as the guy running the show on the day-to-day, because thankfully I have a boss that has given me the freedom to experiment and trust me with this. But to see all the people that I've met here, there, and everywhere across the time frame become friends to the point where we hang out outside of the brewery.
oh yeah.
You can't put a price point on that. And it's a beautiful thing.
Money is not the motive.
No.
It's true. I
Well,
mean,
it
And we
really
see- and
fucking
we
helps
see that
that.
every
It's nice.
day.
Helps with stuff.
And
But
that's
it
one.
really
That's,
helps with
that,
things.
that
Gotta
is
pay the
that is
bills,
one
but-
thing that we've brought in from this whole development that is Garvies Point. One day, like as all these people move in, you see somebody who's like a new face one day, and you're like, that's great. And then 3 weeks later, and beyond that, they are a regular.
Yeah.
They are there every
Day.
freaking
And then
every
next
day.
You can't
Why
get
are you
rid-
so
Every
good?
day.
It's
you can't
incredible.
get rid
And
of
the
it.
next thing you know, they're friends with another regular.
Right.
And another
Yeah,
regular.
yeah,
And so on and so forth. And to watch that grow, it's a
It's
beautiful
community.
thing.
That is
exactly.
straight up
Right.
community,
And that's what we all strive for.
Yes, and that is what local beer is all about.
Right.
Hell yeah.
summon the demons of the craft beer world.
My oh my.
Gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys being in here today. This has been fucking beyond a blast.
A lot of fun.
Great mixture of personalities and good times. And the beer, top notch.
Yes,
I mean,
let's go.
if you want to put a lid on Long Island breweries, the two of you guys have capped exactly what needs to be capped here on Long Island.
And you
When
got
are
a
we
pair of
working together?
socks out of the deal.
I really, I
fucking
appreciate
socks.
that, man. I put my life into this, so I really appreciate that.
So drink it up.
I will wear these out of here if I need to, and I wear high socks all the time.
That's my
This
MO.
absolutely will be part of my repertoire for sure. And I have shoes that'll go along with that perfectly, so it's great.
Let's go.
So
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
This
you.
has been awesome. You guys can check out the podcast version of the show. Go to Spotify or iTunes, and of course YouTube, where the show will be up in full audio and video format. And guys, thanks a lot.
Yes.
It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Golf
Thank you.
clap.
Thank you. Thank you.
Golf clap.
Thank you very
headbutt
much
each other.
to Mark, to Kevin, to Ben, and to John from Dubco. This is the work with Mike, Pete, and Steve. Steve, something before we get out of here?
I love both of these guys.
Make sure you shave your rabbit foot.
Yes. It's very important.
It's been a
Peter?
while.
Don't forget to have your pet spayed or neutered.
This is the one where
unless-
Mike-
Unless it's a
You gotta
rabbit.
keep it
All right,
lucky,
you gotta
man.
listen to
That's
Rabbit.
right.
Unless it's a rabbit.
This is the one where Mike P and Steve GovsRadio.com, and we out of here.
Well, that's 2 hours of your life that you'll never get back.
Are you kidding me?
Please hang up and try again.
This has been the Wort on Govs Radio. I hope you're drunk enough.